I mean, I expect them to intercept Mark Sanchez a lot.
Not only do they have a winning record, they have the best record in the NFL.
I think the Bills are going to get blown out. They are who we thought they were.
It's called praying, people. Kill the Tebow.
But this is a big deal for Mario Williams. I mean, 31 other cities he could have moved to, and he chose Buffalo.
I think the big thing here, and I'm going ahead of myself a little bit, is we got depth now.
The Bills signed Vince Young. We finally have the quarterback of the future. Welcome to a new season of Buffalo Bills Pregame. New studio, new analyst. Couldn't be more excited. I'd like to introduce our newest analyst here at the team, Cory. Talk about yourself. What's your name? Where are you from?
From Batavia. You said my name was Cory. I'm just really excited to be here.
Big Bills fans from across the region. Thank you, audience.
As you can see today, it's pretty sweaty. Randy's dripping beads right now, so nice hot and humid day from Buffalo, New York.
Early in the season, the weather is great in Buffalo. We have to love it. And the top story, of course, the backup quarterback situation here in Buffalo. The Vince Young was cut, and you want to defer to me right away?
I'm going to defer right to you because I have my own take after.
All right. I think this is the best news that could happen for the Buffalo Bills. Vince Young simply was the best athlete that the Bills had at the quarterback position, but they've decided over the course of the preseason that he was not the answer to win now. He was not going to turn this losing football team into a playoff contender. So rather than flip-flop, he has to admit he wasn't ready in Chan Gailey's system to win right now, and that's what they decided. So they've decided to play for Matt Barkley. This is the season of let's finally get a quarterback that we can go forward with, that we've written off one more season for the Bills, which I'm fine with, if it means improving at the absolute most important position on the field. Ryan Fitzpatrick is who we think he is. He's a player who's won half as many NFL games as Vince Young, who's no longer on the team. He's been to the Pro Bowl 0 times. Vince Young's been twice. He's on the sidelines. We know that Ryan Fitzpatrick can lead us to mediocrity and put us within reach of a quarterback that can take us further. So I'm glad that we folded this season here. It's a shame that it's going to be our last as a preseason game, that we won't, preseason show. We won't see the Bills win a Super Bowl, but we will see the beginning of the future of the Buffalo Bills.
I'm going to politely disagree with you there. I would say that anyone who watched that Steelers game, our producer and I were in attendance together, he sucked out loud. Honestly, it was an awful performance.
Exactly.
That all said, trading for Tavares Jackson, it was like basically getting rid of one thing and buying it back for an extra price. You're basically trading away a draft pick to get the same guy. Makes no sense to me. That all said, I do believe that...
Because they've given up on the season.
I don't think they gave up on the season, but I'd say let's move onward. I think we're going to do much better than that.
Cory, you haven't had a chance to speak of the backup quarterback situation here in Buffalo at all. Are you glad to see Vince Young gone?
You know what? I hope Ryan Fitzpatrick doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, that's probably the smartest thing, yeah.
Do you think they kept Thigpen to keep him from going to the Jets? There's a team that we have to face twice this season. We gave him a roster spot, if anything else, to save him.
No, because Brad Smith pulled his groin in the last game. I think that you want to have at least one quarterback for a backup that knows what he's doing. Jackson doesn't know the system yet.
Then why don't we keep an extra wide receiver? Because Brad Smith's also the 5th wide receiver on the
Actually, if you look at it, I wouldn't be surprised if either Marcus Easley or Kamara Aiken get called up from the practice squad once Tuesday rolls around. They might IR Ron Brooks with the intent to bring him back later in the season. So that would be a potential situation there.
The Bills aren't the only ones in the backup quarterback scenario. Tim Tebow will be playing against the Bills this week. Any chance that we see Tebow, Cory?
I think we might. I think Sanchez, it's going to be the crowd. You're going to hear the crowd. They're going to be yelling Tebow. Sanchez is going to tank, and you're going to hear the Tebow chants rain down, and it's going to be hilarious, and I can't wait.
You think we see Tebow playing quarterback against the Bills week 1?
I'll say that he'll be as a punt protector. That's it. Anything more, Sanchez would have to get knocked out by Mario Williams. So.
No wildcat packages week 1, you don't think?
If you see one or two of them, maybe that, but nothing more.
Fourth quarter, you heard it here first.
Fourth quarter. Offensive breakdown. Is Stevie Johnson saying he's going to attack Revis Island? Is that the best strategy for one of the weaker number 1 wide receivers in the NFL going against one of the best cornerbacks?
Weaker number 1? Are you kidding? Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and he's the only guy
The
last
only
year.
option.
Wait. He's the only guy last year who actually had a better than average game twice against Revis. So to say that Revis was on an island when Stevie averaged 79 yards in each game last year, I think that Stevie owns the island,
So
not
he's
Revis.
the kryptonite to Revis' Superman?
I believe so, yeah.
Revis Island being attacked by Stevie, a good strategy for the Bills this week?
He tore him up that one game last year.
Yeah.
I just want to see Stevie catch the ball when it matters.
Or Fitzpatrick to put it past there.
Yeah,
and
or
catch it.
that's.
I mean,
Yeah.
Stevie Johnson may be good, a deep threat against Revis, but I think the strategy against Buffalo is going to force Ryan Fitzpatrick to beat you on a 20-plus yard pass, and I don't know how often Revis is going to get beat in that scenario. But we are playing a 3-4 defense this week with a great secondary, Revis being the leader of that. What do we need to do to attack that 3-4, Justin?
Run the ball. You got CJ, you got Freddie, you even got Tashard
And that
Choice.
big
They all can
offensive
run.
line.
Oh yeah, you got a big offensive line. You got a good blocking back in McIntyre on the short yardage situations. Just run the ball. You have the horses. Use them.
Hit the gut. Anything else for Cory?
I agree.
Defensive breakdown. Mario Williams and Mark Anderson going up against a right tackle situation for the Jets that is Justin saying is weaker.
Well, they tried trading for Jeff Otah from Carolina. He failed the physical, and they've had a lot of issues at that right tackle spot. Guess what? We have our best pass rusher lined up against them. I could see Sanchez going down quite a few times. So that'd be probably the key matchup for this week.
You have a lot of focus on Mario Williams with the Buffalo Bills this season. Mark Anderson versus Aaron Maben. Who do you think has a bigger impact on this game?
Maybe.
Maben? For what reason?
I just like him a lot more.
You like Maben more than Anderson?
I'm actually a big Maven fan.
Well, I mean, he was drafted by the Bills.
Yeah, it's good to see him succeeding elsewhere. Sometimes you need to be dropped from your original scenario to succeed in life.
And that chip on the shoulder coming back to
Yeah.
Buffalo.
But that all said, I hope our Piers knocks him down to the ground a bunch of times. If not Piers, Cory Glenn on the other side.
So the biggest name at wide receiver for the Jets is
Holmes.
Holmes.
That's all they
An
have.
old Santonio Holmes.
An old one, yeah.
Who do we need to look out for in terms of offensive threats for the Jets?
Dustin Keller, their tight end. He's a legit threat up the middle. And the Bills, no matter what scheme they have, they always have a history of letting tight ends eat them alive. Dustin Keller's that type of and that caliber of tight end.
Rex Ryan's seen tight ends tear up the AFC East with New England. Cory, do you think that we'll be able to stop Dustin Keller if he is the only feasible attack for the Jets passing game?
I think so. They're going to have to do a lot of passing, I think. Their offensive line sucks. They gave up more sacks than any other team in the preseason, 16 in total.
Especially out of that right tackle spot.
Attack.
Yeah.
Don't give Sanchez any time. Just keep going after him.
Sean Green can be an explosive running back, though. The Jets have a history of running all over the Bills. Do you think that we'll change that this season?
I think the defensive acquisitions that we got are really going to make an impact on that.
Especially especially with the guys we already have in the middle, Mario and not Mario, Kyle and Marcel. I think they're going to shut down that inside rush.
All right, topic of discussion this week submitted by Sports Wolf 3, who is in contention for the big $100 grand prize at the end of the season. Be sure to submit your topic conversation in the comments underneath this video if you want to be eligible for the $100 prize. But Sports Wolf 3 asks, what do you think the impact of the replacement refs will be in this game? Justin, we'll start with you.
The refs sucked before; they'll still suck now. So none.
No?
they're going to blow a lot of calls. Just hopefully not for the Bills.
They couldn't. Yeah, as far as the Bills are concerned, the new refs can't possibly be more jaded against us than the refs that are actually employed by the NFL.
That's true.
So, as far as the Bills are concerned, if we get like an even game where ref calls are blown evenly on both sides, that will only work out to our advantage. All right, time for keys to the game. Justin, what do the Bills need to do to win this game?
Specifically, I think it comes down to Mario Williams versus their right tackle, Austin Howard. I think Mario needs to rack up at least a couple sacks and generate pressure on every passing attempt.
Corey?
I agree wholeheartedly with that. Their defense is really just going to have to attack. And hopefully the refs just stay on point. So I think that's actually going to play a pretty big role right at the end. You heard it here first.
Mine's related. I think that we need to get into Mark Sanchez's head, get the New York fans hoping to see Tebow on the field, and really play into that distraction that is Tim Tebow. And
Talk dirty about Eva Longoria.
anything it takes. So do you pick the Bills to win?
I do. I'm going to say 31-17.
31-17, blowout, Bills. Corey?
Bills 24-21.
I say Jets 21-20 in a close game. Next week we're playing the Chiefs. Can't wait to see Kansas City and their meth head fans here at the season opener. We'll be right back. And Jared, you have after that performance, you have the audacity to be wearing a Fitzpatrick jersey?
It's the only one I got.
And welcome back to Buffalo Bills pregame, ready for regular season game 1. Wait, what's that? They played week 1 already? Well, why didn't they try? Well, the Bills have played a game, and we're not allowed to talk about it today. So on to the top story of the week. Revenge game for the Chiefs. We crushed Kansas City 41-7 last year in their house. We put Eric Berry out of the season game or week 1. Is this a revenge game for the Chiefs? Do they have bullseye on the Bills' backs right now?
I don't think so. We both looked horrible week 1, so it'll be kind of who's going to get on their feet, who's going to bounce back, the fastest. We got injuries. David Nelson's out for the year. Fred Jackson's out again
For
at least 4 to 8 weeks. So it'll be a matter of, okay, who bounces back the quickest? Do we bounce back from the injuries and a loss? And can they do the same thing?
Is the storyline with Chan Gailey being a former Chiefs coach a factor anymore now that he's
No.
already beat them once in their house?
Yeah, we don't care.
So it's a one and done kind of story. It's a
Yeah.
shame. I like the revenge idea. Like, oh, you fired me. The offense did not look fantastic in week 1. Fred Jackson and Nelson are injured, like you said. What are the impact of those on the offense going forward?
Well, maybe we'll finally get to see what C.J. Spiller can do. He had 169 yards on Sunday. So hopefully, he was a number 1 draft pick. So we need to use him and see what he can actually do. So hopefully we'll get to see what he can do. And all our other, receivers and tight ends, we don't get anything from them. So hopefully Sunday they'll show something.
T.J. Graham is going to have an opportunity to show what he can do in the slot position. A lot of people in Buffalo here are looking at an open roster spot for a wide receiver position, a slot receiver, and we're very familiar with one who has been serviceable at that position up to this point. Do you like the chances of Naaman Roosevelt making it back to the team?
I do. I just think he was like the low man on the totem pole. I don't think he was a bad player, but there were just better people ahead of him. So he was the one, he kind of got sacrificed for the team. But I think with Chandler being out, they have an open spot. He may be able to slide back in.
We CJ Spiller ran for 169 yards, averaged 12.1 yards per carry, an astronomical amount, not something that anyone has ever carried throughout an entire season. Do we continue to focus on him as the only successful part of the offense, really, week one against another 3-4 defense of the Kansas City Chiefs?
I think we see what he can do. He looked great yesterday. Probably the only player that looked great yesterday. It seems like he's changed a lot in the season. He used to do a lot of east-west running, which was horrible. So, I mean, he got up the field. So, we need to see if he can really, be a first-round draft pick.
And he got a lot of help from some bad tackling by the Jets
that
on
too.
that Super Bowl run, clearly trying to go for the ball, not even attempting to knock a much smaller player off his feet.
Mm-hmm.
He broke 59 yards that should have been about 37, as a result of bad defense as opposed to anything he did. But it looked fantastic. For the first time, C.J. Spiller looked like he was playing against those insurance salesmen down in Clemson again. Fitzpatrick, obviously a catastrophic, terrible game. The numbers don't even begin to tell you how bad he was. There are faint echoes of a recently cut quarterback being called for already. What does Fitz have to do to eliminate I mean, these weren't interceptions that were tipped off of
No.
defensive backs that were a matter of miscommunication. This was Fitzpatrick throwing to the opposite team. Is it a colorblind issue? What does Fitzpatrick have to do this week to eliminate the copious mistakes?
He needs to figure out who to throw to. He needs to figure out that you're throwing to the guy in the blue jersey. That's your teammate. I don't know who he was throwing to on Sunday, but it definitely was the Bills players because Donald Jones became the defender a couple of times, and then
He's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I was watching him a couple times thinking, he's not a fantastic wide receiver, but he could make a hell of a defensive back maybe.
Yeah. I mean, the one interception that was caught in front of him, the guy didn't run back, but, they did run one back for a touchdown, so he has to figure out who he's throwing to. I don't know. Like I said, it's their first game. They might be off route running wise, but whatever it is, they got to get it together.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick's interceptions, not a single one of them were the result of a deflection or a miscommunication. The receiver's in the wrong route. He just straight up threw it to the wrong team.
Definitely.
And I want to take a moment and mention that Brian Moorman, talking about runbacks, Brian Moorman had an incredible streak where his entire career he had not allowed a punt return for a touchdown.
Yep.
And that came to an end this week. I actually have had like a little sadness in my gut watching him chase down Curley, thinking he's not going to catch him, and that's the first one ever. It's the first time he's experienced that maybe since college, high school, maybe even. So I'm sorry, Brian Moorman. I still think you deserve a spot on our Wall of Fame.
Yes.
Moving to our defense, it would seem that we were going to allow the Jets to beat us by the pass, that we were not going to get run over for 200 yards for a third consecutive time against the Jets, and they did just that. They didn't bother to run it down our throats because they're busy scoring touchdowns in the air. What do we do to have a more balanced strategy going forward against the Chiefs, or are they just going to be able to throw over our heads all game too?
They need to put pressure on. I mean, Mario Williams at one point, it was like he has one tackle, and it was like after halftime. It's like we're paying you $100 million and you have one tackle. So somebody needs to figure out how to put pressure. So, get in the backfield. Either way, if you're going to stop the pass or stop the run, you got to get in the backfield. You can't let them sit back there all day and decide, well, who am I going to throw it to? And if I can't throw it, I'm just going to run. So they have to definitely start putting more pressure on the quarterback.
Mario Williams, another player whose statistics don't show what a bad game he had. One tackle, no sacks, but you just didn't even notice him throughout the entire game. There was no time, he excuse me. Sanchez or Tebow were not constantly picking themselves up off the ground after suffering a big hit, just getting rid of the ball before Mario Williams was there. He was essentially a non-factor. The Chiefs' offense, not quite as full of weapons. Is there anyone on this offensive breakdown that intimidates you that you're worried about going into this week?
No, but that's not always. That's what's kind of scary because you never know who's going to be the player that's going to have the good game. Peyton Hillis had streaks when he was in Cleveland where you thought he's really going to be good, and then he kind of fell off. But just because there's no standout player, you never know who to guard because somebody is definitely gonna have a good game. If you focus on one, then somebody else is gonna have a good game. So that's what's kind of scary, that there's no one player that you can kind of focus on. You got to cover everybody.
Concerned about that dark horse. I think Matt Castle is a mediocre quarterback at best.
Yeah.
And I can't be a hypocrite what I say about the Bills. You're only as far as your quarterback is gonna go as far as your quarterback will take you. And I don't see the Chiefs' offense doing fantastic things this year. I think this is a chance for our defense to kind of make up for their not showing up to play this last week. Which brings us to the topic of discussion this week. Andrew Bobeck, who is in competition for the $100 grand prize that will be chosen at random for contributors to the show. All you need to do is comment below this video and ask for a topic for us to discuss, and you will be in to win $100. But Andrew asks, what do you think the Bills need to work on to improve during the season? An appropriate question considering the catastrophe we just watched this week.
As a whole, probably the defense better. I mean, with the offense is just Fitzpatrick. The defense didn't really do anything yesterday. They scored when they felt like it. So I think as a unit, the defense probably needs the most work. They have the better players, but they're not playing up to their potential.
I'll have to reiterate what you said. I have a lot of respect for Dave Wanstead, what he's done in the NFL, what he's done for the team as a linebackers coach last year. And I think it needs to take a week and coach him up and get that defense to play as a unit and really close some of those gaping holes that we left. It wasn't pretty, and with all the time that Sanchez had to throw, it's not a winning formula. So keys to the game, what do the Bills need to do to win against the Kansas City Chiefs?
They need to put pressure on Matt Castle. He can't have all day to throw to whoever he decides to pick up. He can't have all day. So the defense definitely has to pressure the quarterback.
I think the Bills have to keep it close, no matter what. Right away, we fell behind this week. This is the home season opener here in Buffalo. It's supposed to be beautiful weather. It's been sold out for months. Mm-hmm. The crowds here are really anxious to see the Bills play, and as long as we keep it close, the crowd will carry the team. As the Kansas City Chiefs get close to the end zones, it's a really loud environment in Ralph Wilson Stadium, and that cannot hurt us at all. So, who do you have to win this week?
Only because it's the home opener, and they usually do pretty well at home. I'm reluctantly going to pick the Bills, but I'm doing 23-17.
23-17 Bills. I think that the Buffalo Bills are going to be playing on their A game. I think that the Bills will win just enough games this season to make sure they don't get a good quarterback in the offseason, so I'm picking the Bills to win as well. A little bit tighter, 24-21. Next week, we're playing another Rust Belt city right down the road, Cleveland Browns. Always fun playing a team whose fan base is so close to ours.
Yes.
Must be a tough game for people in Erie.
They'll definitely be here. And with them losing last week, and they lost close last week, so it'll definitely be a good dogfight.
All right, go Bills. We'll be back next week talking about the Cleveland Browns. And don't mess up, Fitzpatrick. Buffalo Bills pregame. Randy, your host, Nakia, doing all the analysis, and we are here to discuss the Bills. We're on to week 3. If weeks 1 and 2 taught us anything, is that the Chiefs don't stand a chance against the Jets. This team, we don't know who they are, what team's going to show up on any given week, and the one thing that I think the team has shown is that our offensive line is incredible. For years, we had to worry about Drew Bledsoe or any other quarterback we had getting killed back there in the backfield, and Ryan Fitzpatrick is able to stand in there, get the time that he needs, and still miss throws. Top story of the week, big running back battle between two young running backs. C.J. Spiller tearing it up for the Bills. Trent Richardson having a breakout rookie 2 games. What do you think of the running back battle between these two young guys?
It looks good. Spiller's finally looking like a first-round draft pick. He's averaging over 10 yards a carry for these first 2 games. So let's see if he can keep it up and earn the money, earn his paycheck.
And Richardson's been almost all of the offensive production for the Browns. So if they're going to have any success, Trent Richardson's going to have to keep up what he's been doing.
He's a rookie, so we don't have a lot on him, but these first 2 games he's shown a lot. So let's hope the Bills defense cannot get run over by a rookie.
We are going up against Dick Giron defense this week. Our offense has had some success running the ball. Dick Giron's defense this year a little bit run weak. Do we stick with the same strategy, pounding the rock, with CJ Spiller against the first 4-3 defense we faced this year?
Yeah, I mean, why fix it if it's not broken? He's been doing good. Like you said, Fitzpatrick is still not figured out who's on his team. So if we can, stick with CJ and, use Fitzpatrick until he gets it together, I'm all for it.
Not so much that he doesn't know how his team, but if there's a pass that's more than like 12 yards, he's very accurate and consistent between like 7 to 10 yards.
Yeah.
But if you're in a position where the Bills are in a passing situation, they need to come from behind, and Fitzpatrick needs to make big throws, I'm not convinced that he's going to be able to get us down the field. So I hope that we're able to continue establishing a run game. It's going to continue to buy him the time and keeping the linebackers and the safeties off his receivers. On the defensive side of the ball, both Mark Sanchez and Matt Castle had a considerable amount of success passing the ball. Both picked on Gilmore. Early in the game, Matt Castle tried to single out Terrence McGee defensively, much to Bill's success, thank goodness. But is that a strategy that teams watching Bills tape continues to do, try to pass it over their heads? Or with the success of Trent Richardson, do you think Cleveland's going to try to run it down our throats?
I think they're going to try to run it down our throats because we are the weakest when it comes to the run defense. I mean, the passes, they can get them here and there. Gilmore, I actually think is going to get better. I don't think he's a total loss. I think we give him another week or 2, and he'll get it together. So I see him getting better. You only have to get burned a couple times before you figure out, what you need to do. But I think they're going to keep running it because that's what everybody has had success doing. Win or lose, we give up a ton of yards.
Special teams breakdown this week. Very special player on Cleveland, Josh Cribbs, a threat in the special teams game. Do we risk kicking it to him, punting, or kicking the ball, or do we just have John Potter kick it out of the back of the end zone, or Brian Moorman just punt it away from him all game long?
I mean, I don't give anybody a chance that's made the Pro Bowl on special teams. You keep kicking it out. Brian Moorman he's a Pro Bowl punter, so he needs to keep doing what he's doing, keep kicking it out the end zone. If they, down and at the 1 or 2, that makes it even better. But I don't think you ever give anybody a chance to run the ball back.
While we're taking a moment out of our packed schedule here at Buffalo's Bills Pregame to talk about special teams, congratulations to Leotis McKelvin returning a touchdown back this week.
Yes.
We are a highlight team, if anything else, from both games. There's a lot of good highlight clips that you can watch, and hopefully those big plays keep on working out in our favor. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Leotis. And we're on to the topic of discussion this week. Each and every week we have a topic of discussion submitted by you, the viewer, and if you would like a chance to win a $100 grand prize, all you need to do is submit your topic of discussion underneath this video in the comment box. We will choose one each week, and then the winners will be chosen at random at the end of this season, location to be announced. So be sure to continue submitting your topics of discussion. This week, we want to know, does the fact that the Bills face the AFC South and the NFC West this year increase the pressure on the Bills to make the playoffs?
I think so, because you got pretty decent teams in both of those divisions. Any one of them, depending on how they're playing, can be a threat. I mean, we watched San Fran last night, so we know eventually they're coming this way. So we definitely have to pay attention to teams that are playoff teams. Those teams go to the playoffs. So if we want to get in, then we have to beat them too.
San Francisco proved on national television that they are the real deal, that last season was not a fluke, and I don't like the Bills matchup against them one bit here in a couple weeks. The Seattle Seahawks surprised sleeping Dallas. Maybe they're overlooking that game, or maybe it was a different team that played New York the week before.
Yeah.
But Seattle looked good this week. The Rams, are who we think they are. I think the NFC West isn't as easy a draw as it once was.
Right.
The AFC South isn't as strong without Peyton Manning, hands down. So I'm not so concerned about that. But you have to like our schedule, at least in the second half of the season. If we continue eking out these games or getting blown out or blowing other people out. If we can walk out of the first half of the season with at least a winning record or 500, we're posed to do well and make the playoffs. But I don't know if their schedule increases the pressure on a team that has been to the playoffs as longer than anyone else. We have the longest active streak in the NFL, and I don't know if pressure can be increased. No matter, if we're playing New England 15 times. On to keys of the game. So what do you think it is the Bills have to do this week in C-Town to pull out a victory?
As usual, we got to stop the run. Everybody thinks they can run all over us. So we need to make sure that we send a message that we aren't a team that you can just run all over. Win or lose, the running back's going to have great stats against us, and that we can't have.
I think the offensive line needs to keep the consistent play. Fitzpatrick is only going to get worse with more pressure. So if the offensive line can continue protecting the way they have been, I mean, they've been able to even bring in the backups later in games and get everyone some time. So we have good depth and we have good offensive line play. I think if we can keep that up. And last week I said Dave Wanstead needed to coach up that defense, and I think he was listening. So thanks, Dave. It was nice to watch. But offensive line, keep up the good work this week. And who's your pick? The Bills going to win this week?
I'm going to keep sticking with them. We're going to see if we can put together 2 games in a row before New England comes in town. So I don't think they're going to score as much, but I still think they're going to come out with the win. So I'm giving them 24-10.
I think most Bills fans would have been glad to take 2-1 after the first 3 games this week, and I think that's exactly what we're going to get. I say the Bills pull out a pretty relatively easy victory, 28-20. And next week, we'll be back here at home against New England. So hotel rooms, hope clean the best you can. Adams Mark, get ready for Tom Brady's parents. They'll be here to visit. Go Bills. What's the 4th string running back's name?
Johnny White.
Johnny White. I wasn't even close.
What did you think?
I said Reggie White.
You said Reggie White.
Oh.
Welcome to another Buffalo Bills pregame. Week 4, we're facing the New England Patriots, coming off a big win over the Cleveland Browns.
Big.
And it resulted in one topic suggestion for this week's show. We're giving away $100 free. All you have to do is sign up for a free YouTube account and comment below with a question for us to discuss next week, and you are in to win $100. Not hard to do. You'd be ashamed of yourself for not entering. It's the same 4 people every week, and we want to share this money. So, besides an apathetic crowd for Buffalo Bills pregame audience, on to the top story of the week. Fred Jackson, CJ Spiller, both injured against a team that we would like to be full strength for, the New England Patriots. How do you think missing our 1 and 2 running backs affects the Buffalo Bills offense this week?
Well, I mean, we're going to have to plan for a chart choice. I mean, Fred Jackson is probably going to play. He's about 75% or so chance of playing, so that's a good thing. I think the bigger story, though, is the fact that the Patriots lost yesterday, or Sunday, I mean, and they're 1-2 coming into the game. We're 2-1. The Bills are better than the Patriots on paper. That's right. But I don't see them going 1-3, and I think that's a huge story coming into this.
It's the first time since the Bills beat the Patriots in 2003, the opening week, that the Patriots have had a losing record. You're talking about a decade almost plus with them not having a losing record. So I don't know if it's good news or bad news for us.
Well, I mean, the epic question here is, has the tyrants finally fallen? Are they done? But
Belichick, the lead tyrant, some post-game antics, chasing down referees because of a call. He wanted a chance to review the field goal, possibly justifiably so, but going as far as putting his hands on a referee. Do you think he'll be fined for his actions today or last night?
First off, I think that they're making way too big of a deal of Belichick touching the guy's arm. Who cares? Really? But there is a rule in place that says you can't do that. So he should be treated like everyone else and fined accordingly, and given how the Patriots are, they should really get fined just in general. So, will it happen? I hope it should. They're talking about it. But if it doesn't, I won't be surprised.
On to the offensive breakdown. We've had some trouble going up against the Patriots defense in the past. What does the plan of attack have to be to continue the offensive success of the past 2 weeks?
Based on the defense of the Patriots, we have to go in with a plan of running the ball, even though it's Tashard choice. Fred Jackson will most likely be there, 75% chance, like I said before, but we have to plan on that due to what Ray Rice did against them on Sunday night. I don't think they're going to respect our pass, so we do have to have some good spread formation packages in. Particularly, we got to target their rookies, Dante Hightower, Chandler Jones. They're new. Their smarts aren't quite there yet. They're good for pressure, but other than that, if we get them out there in the flats, Scott Chandler needs to step up and do some stuff there.
Tashard Choice had the second most productive game of his career last week against the Browns. Johnny White, the fourth string back for the Bills, had some impressive looking runs against an incredible offensive line. The offensive line has only allowed 1 sack so far this season, and I believe on an argument of physics that fumble could no way possibly be a fumble.
I will give you that.
That
Yeah,
sack
100%.
shouldn't have even counted. So despite incredible offensive line play, Fitzpatrick has looked terrible. This past week against the Cleveland Browns, he was missing throws. He was leading receivers over the middle to be, for big hits against them. They were dropping balls because of all the hits they were taking against the secondary. And he had a good game if what you expect from a quarterback in the NFL is absolute mediocrity.
Okay, look. He missed 13 throws. He made 20-something. That's really good numbers. He also, half of them weren't even his fault. There were so many drops, especially by Stevie, where he hit him in the hands. So Fitz is not to blame for his play. He played bad in the first game. I will give you that. Second game, not so much either. This game, though, was good. He played good this game, and you got to give credit when credit's due. Fitz played good.
He's standing behind a brick wall with all the time in the world and still
But
not
if his
making
receivers
throws.
drops the balls, it's not his fault.
Still not making throws
It's
professional
not his fault
quarterback
that people
needs to.
can't drop the ball.
On to the defensive side of the ball. What is the formula for stopping the Patriots offense? What do we have to do to keep them below 40, 50 points? I mean, they've scored a lot on us in the past.
Here's the problem. Here's our major problem. We still have not figured out how to pass defend. The only reason we beat the Browns, and this is the sad part, their receivers dropped the ball, and the rain wasn't that bad. Josh Cribbs hit his hands, and Brandon Whedon couldn't throw it any better than he could have. Patriots aren't going to screw that up. Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, Brandon Lloyd, even though he's not part of the formula yet, they're going to catch the ball.
Last night he looked like he was part of the formula. They were including him a lot.
Okay, fair enough. But either way, I mean, that's because Edelman got hurt, I think. But either way, they're going to do really well. And I'm not really sure what the formula is. I think the one thing I saw in the Ravens game, the crowd noise was ecstatic.
And vulgar at times.
And very vulgar. We need to do that. The Bills, and we can do that. The Bills crowd has to make sure Brady can't be heard at all. And speaking of crybaby McDiapers, we need to pressure him, get him on the ground.
I think for the first time in Brady's career, the Buffalo Bills have a legitimate four-man running offense. There are four-man rushing defense that can get pressure on the quarterback. I think that for the first time, we have a legitimate chance of with being able to keep seven-man in coverage, getting a rush on Brady and getting him on the ground, because that's when he gets frustrated. He doesn't like having to get knocked down and get back up again, and he likes to cry about it. So let's get him complaining about it, get the crowd in his head. We've had trouble stopping the tight ends. Gronkowski always loves to play a good game here.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that several of his ex-girlfriends will be in the crowd cheering him on, and we have to look for that.
And that's sad if his exes are cheering back.
Winslow may not be a huge step down from Hernandez, so we still have to worry about those 7 down lineman fronts that the Patriots can pass out of successfully. But that QB pressure is very important because the defensive backs did not look good. Aaron Williams took advantage of some poor quarterback play by Whedon, and he looked very good as a result. But I don't think he's as good as his performance has shown these past couple weeks.
Yeah, they got to tackle too. Just real quickly to add, they got to hit hard. That's what another thing the Ravens did. They punished those receivers who caught those balls last night, and that's what Arizona did too. We got to make them sorry that they ever even did anything on us.
On to the topic of discussion tonight, recommended by one of our faithful watchers. Please, everyone, be sure to make your topic of suggestion your chance to win $100. And the chance to win $100 this week goes to the question, after 3 weeks of play, does it look like Stephon Gilmore is worth a first-round pick?
He's missed some big plays. There's been a few where his number should have been called, and that one play during the game where he barely started to step in and went on the outside. Gilmore should have been on that. But the point, I go back to the draft on this. Who else were we going to pick at that pick? So,
I mean, looking at pressing needs in other places, both sides of the line are really shored up. I don't think there was a whole lot of value in terms of skill players that we could have picked up at that position.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if anything else by attrition, we'll take it at this point. We need as much help as we can in the defensive back.
Yeah, the only other pick was Michael Floyd, but I haven't really heard much of him yet. So,
keys to the game. What are the 2 things that you need to do
That's
to
right.
isolate?
That's right. I'm going with 2 keys this week. I'm going a little off the charts because I'm doing
1A
keys.
and 1B?
Yeah, because there should be 2 analysts here, but it's just me. So I'm going to do 2 keys. My first key of the game is crowd noise. Like I mentioned before, we got to be loud and crazy and disrupt everything that they need to do. Another thing we need to do is another key, a possible key, and this is kind of the second one, is Fred Jackson. He will definitely make the difference one way or another with the running game. If it's just a charge choice, we're going to have some major issues. But if Fred Jackson's there, we might actually have a chance to win this thing.
I think the Bills need to keep on running the ball to stay successful. We have that incredible offensive line, and apparently anyone who runs the ball behind them can do well. Fitzpatrick has run the ball effectively. I like how he's not using the QB dive at all. He's going out there and trying to see if we can get other quarterbacks in who can do better. Who do you have to win this game, Jared? Your pick of the week.
My pick of the week, I just don't see the Patriots being 1-3. I want to. I don't think the target's involved quite yet. I'm going to go with the Patriots 31-24. They got to get their 31 points in.
As the only member of the Buffalo Bills pregame family who's correctly chosen every single game of this so far this season, yes? No? I think so.
Yeah, you okay, fine.
I'm going to say we're going to lose this game. It's going to be closer than people think. I'm going to go 27-24 Patriots. And on to the 49ers in San Francisco next week.
Yeah, well, they fell against the Vikings, so they have some weaknesses. It should be a good game. We might actually win it.
Go Bills. Welcome back to another Buffalo Bills pregame. No applause, please, crowd. We do not deserve it after that catastrophe against New England this week. Top story, we have one of the worst quarterbacks in the league on our team. Ryan Fitzpatrick messing up in almost any way a quarterback can, completely not being able to handle himself under pressure.
Fitzpatrick had a bad game. Even though he threw four touchdowns. 4 interceptions does not make up for those 4 touchdowns. It just doesn't. So, but I think it's play calling. I don't think it's all Fitzpatrick. Because who's calling the play to throw on first down when you should be running? Even though they didn't do so good against the run, or as a running team, they still should have been running on first down as opposed to throwing bombs. And then suddenly you're at 2nd and 10, and what are you going to do then? You're going to run maybe one more time and then throw, right? So it's play calling. Chan Gailey is on some weird pedestal I don't quite understand. We were calling for Dick Duran's head pretty much the whole time. But Chan Gailey's getting off on, I didn't know they were going to run the ball. Come on.
I think that both C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson being on the field was the result more of painkillers and cortisone shots. Who knows how much tread we took off their career tires to get them on the field, and mostly for smoke and mirrors for Belichick, I believe. Neither of them showed to be at 100%, and we compromised the future of these two fantastic players for a chance to try to fool Belichick, and honestly, he wasn't fooled. Right, like you said, our run game never took off. This is a game where the numbers, again, do not even begin to tell you how bad the team did. Fitzpatrick looked awful, missing throws, bad play calling or otherwise. He's missing throws, he's short-arming throws. Half his interceptions are because he doesn't have the arm to make the throws that he think he can make.
But he
has no right. He has no right. Let me finish.
Okay.
He has no right with the arm to be an NFL quarterback. Maybe his mind is super good to make up for it, but his arm is not an NFL quarterback's arm.
There weren't any pick sixes, and yet there's 52 points. So, yeah, I had a point eventually at the end. That's on the defense there. The defense is screwing up more, and I know a lot of them were off turnovers, but...
They were given short yardage situations to defend.
But why is C.J. Spiller trying to punch in the ball, not Fred Jackson? That would have been huge.
Because Fred Jackson's injury to his leg.
Why didn't we run Chichard Choice then? Once. We had a whole show about Chichard Choice last week. We didn't even try running him one time.
Yeah, we ran him, but he had one run in the fourth quarter.
Oh, sorry, when the game was...
Well, don't say once when he did run
All right,
once.
well, fair enough. I'm just trying to make a point here that we didn't do what we could have done, and I think it comes down to coaching on both sides of the ball, not just the players. I mean, yes, Fitzpatrick did not have a good game, but you also have to take in mind who's calling the plays on each side.
All right, that wraps up the post-game show for the Bills, I think.
Yeah.
There is nothing good to say about this game, and after the way Mormon was treated, you got to think Ryan Fitzpatrick is doing way worse than he was, and he should be off the team by Thursday.
Let's go on to the 49ers game, shall we?
Plan of attack. What do we do against the 49ers? They've got Dante Whitner on defense, who we got rid of because we didn't think that he was a contribution. Is that a weak point that our offense tries to take advantage of?
Well, I mean, I don't really think Dante Whitner is so much a weak point on their defense. They have a lot of defensive stars. They got Patrick Willis, they got Carlos Rogers, they got Aldon Smith. They've drafted really well on both sides of the ball, especially with Anthony Davis, Joe Staley, things like that.
Dante Whitner was a weakness on our mediocre defense, but he's not a weakness on their excellent defense?
I don't think he was trying, really, to be honest with you, in Buffalo. I just don't think he was putting in his full effort, whereas in the 49ers, on a winning franchise, he's going to put in a higher effort. Though I'll tell you one thing, he has no right to have a revenge factor because, we drafted him 8th in the draft. We paid him a lot more than any other team was going to. So if anything, there should be respect and not anything else, unless you're talking the contract or the benching, which are decent points, but there shouldn't be any real issues there.
We seem to be, on paper, we do not match up well against the 49ers. What playmakers need to step up this week for us to have a chance?
Honestly, Chris Hairston and Chad Reinhardt are the playmakers that need to step up because we lost 2 good linemen in Cory Glenn and Craig Urbick. So you've been boasting about the line.
For sure.
Now that line is 60%. So they need to step up.
I'm just trying to think of another example in NFL analyst history where offensive linemen are referred to as playmakers.
Well, honestly, they are the playmakers. They had Fitzpatrick upright for 3 weeks. So.
The Bills were unable to produce a significant rush against Tom Brady this past week. Is it time for Dave Wanstead to reconsider his strategy of a strict 4-man rush against the offense, or does he need to start using this new blitz technique that has caught fire here in the NFL? Confusing, not showing different packages, showing different blitzers coming up on the quarterback, dropping linemen back into coverage, blitzing linebackers, just different things that you can use to take advantage of what might be the weakest point of the San Francisco's offense, which is Alex Smith, which isn't even that much of a weak point. what do we have to do defensive scheme-wise to beat Alex Smith and the 49ers?
Well, I don't really think that the offensive line of the 49ers is that weak, but we should, with our four front, should be able to blitz them without doing any fancy packages. We all know that Wanstead's kind of basic, so there's really no need for any crazy packages. I mean, Mario, Kyle, they should all be able to just get through their guys, simply put. With regard to Alex Smith, though, we need to Fitzpatrick Alex Smith. And
Wait for him to make bad throws?
yes, exactly. You have to wait for him to make bad throws. You have to wait for him to not be able to find anybody and just throw incomplete passes or things like that. He is their weakest link on that team, sorry to say. He's a game manager, if that. And Randy Moss has been doing a lot of complaining lately about, even though he's listed as the starter, he's basically the third wideout. Mario Manningham's been getting most of the play. Plus they have Michael Crabtree, Vernon Davis. They have targets. They have good targets, too. So we will see what ends up happening.
So you're saying we need to stop Frank Gore and dare them to beat us with Alex Smith?
That's the best we can do. And just hope that we can actually cover. Gilmore and Aaron Williams actually did a little bit better despite the 52 points. So
We got the topic of discussion this week, who Amtrak Railfan 15, who is eligible to now win a $100 grand prize at the end of the season. Winner will be selected at random. Be sure to place your topic of discussion recommendation below us here in the comments section. But Amtrak Railfan asks, should we go for a quarterback in free agency?
not at this point in the season because we kind of already traded for one and he's on our third string. So that tells you what would happen to anybody who came in right now. We have to roll with it.
I think that Tavares Jackson deal is looking more and more ridiculous. Vince Young is an incredible athlete, and we're doing as poorly as we are right now. It would be at least fun to watch him run around the field.
Again, and real quickly, it comes back down to coaching. If Gailey could have actually designed some interesting Vince Young plays, it would have been interesting to see how that would have turned out, because the Tavares Jackson thing, like you said, did nothing. So.
And we traded a draft pick. We could have gotten a
Right.
replacement punter
Right.
with that pick. But
Yeah,
no.
which we already have. But
No. So I don't know if free agency immediately right now is the short-term answer. By the looks of an easy schedule, we're probably going to win our way out of a chance of winning, Matt Barkley in the draft. So who knows what's going to happen? But you got to look for getting a quarterback out of the draft with the new bargaining agreement. You get an advantageous contract with rookie quarterbacks if you draft them. Anyway, keys to the game. Back to this week, 49ers. What do the Bills have to do to beat San Francisco?
I kind of already mentioned it before. They need to take care of Alex Smith, take him out of the game. If they don't have their quarterback, they don't move their offense, and we might actually do better on our offensive end.
I think we need to have a complete game. I think we're outmatched all over the place. Our special teams need to not mess up. We had a rookie punter shanking punts in key situations that gives them momentum right back to New England. We need to improve in every facet of the game to beat what is considered by many a Super Bowl favorite.
Okay.
So I picked this San Francisco 49ers to beat the Bills 27-17.
Okay. Here comes the surprise pick of the week. We lost to New England badly. San Francisco destroyed the Jets. No one's seeing the Bills coming, which is why I think they're going to win. They're not expecting anything from us. We go in there.
We shouldn't.
They shouldn't. We go in there and shock the heck out of them, barely, and we will win the game 24-21. I will stipulate, though, if it is a blowout, if it goes 74-2, I won't be surprised. But I'm really going to, my actual prediction is 24-21 Bills. I think we're actually going to pull it off.
So you want to be cool both ways. If we get blown out, like
I'm just saying.
If we win, I
won't be
that coming.
surprised. I'm just saying. I don't
Cool.
think it's going to be what it was last
We've done
week.
our part here on Buffalo Bills pregame. We got rid of those bad luck mugs. We got new Bills
Yeah,
cups.
and that's why we're going to win. We got
And
the
that's why
cups.
we're going to win. Go Bills. Cardinals next week.
Did you know that Cardi means heart?
No. Welcome back to Buffalo Bills pregame week 6 against the Arizona Cardinals. Good news, we're tied for second in the division, 1 game off the lead, and we have a chance this week against a scared looking Arizona Cardinals team. They got beat up pretty bad by the lowly St. Louis Rams. Despite their good record going into the game, they looked pretty awful. And we might have a chance. The Arizona Cardinals do not have a multitude of weapons on offense, even though our defense has looked horrible, giving up 97 points in 2 games. Honestly, we've looked bad on both sides of the ball. But Cobb has not looked good whatsoever. He's getting worse as the season progresses, where their defensive coordinators are getting more footage on him, figuring it out. He's sacked 9 times last week against the Rams, who didn't come into the season with a vaunted pass rush. Despite the hostile environment being on the road, West Coast, for 2 weeks now, is this the game for the Bills to snap out of their funk?
It's definitely going to be better than the Patriots game and the 49ers game. I can't imagine this being nearly as bad. I don't think we're going to come out of our funk just yet. We are playing a 4-1 team, a very successful 4-1 team at that. That's been doing good things. And the Bills have not won on the West Coast since 2002. So I don't think we're going to beat that 10-year streak anytime soon, not against a 4-1 team. But in terms of Kevin Cobb, I think we can do a lot better on him. I've never really liked Cobb. He's really surprised me the first few weeks. I never really thought he was a starter to begin with. So hopefully we can generate some pressure and do better this week.
As is often the case when you work for a multinational media outlet like Buffalo Bills Pregame, you're censored as to what you can say. So all I can say is that our quarterback is inaccurate.
Yeehaw! Ryan Lindley, San Diego State.
There is a quarterback controversy, though, in Arizona. Skelton versus Cobb. Skelton started the season. Cobb took over as a result of injury. So what do you think? Do you think Arizona might go back to Skelton if they do have a bad performance this week?
Well, he has to be healthy. Right now he's listed 3rd in the depth chart behind Ryan Lindley from San Diego State. So I think they're still going to stick with Cobb. I don't see a Skelton sighting happening. But if it comes down to that and they start debating putting in an injured or not so good Skelton, I think the Bills will have a really good chance to win. So the controversy could come to our advantage if the Bills are able to generate some pressure.
The Cardinals fans were very excited with the good start they started off with, and after getting embarrassed by a team they thought they should beat in the Rams, and if things start going badly at home against a team they think they should beat, the Bills, I can see the crowd really getting on Cobb if he underperforms. The defense of the Cardinals has led them to the 4-1 record. What parts of the defense of the Cardinals do we have to avoid?
Well, Patrick Peterson is starting to come into his own. He's looking pretty good as far recently, so that's one main thing. We got to avoid their front 7 at all costs, which is hard because we should be a running team. So that's a big thing we have to avoid there. And, I mean, truthfully, I think the way we do it is we just try not to be every other down with our running backs. Whoever's hot, play. If Fred Jackson's doing good, don't throw Spiller in the next drive. Let him play it out. If Spiller's doing good, let him play it out. Start whoever, but if they're hot, don't mess with it. See who's doing better against that front 7.
A simple drive-by-drive rotation is very painful to watch with these 2 running backs, and I feel that we're not utilizing the skills of both of them. Like, we're telling the other team that only this running back will be on the field for this drive, and we're really limiting our options as to what kind of looks we're giving the other team. When the Bills have been looking good this season, though, it's been because our offensive line has been dominant. Now they've experienced several injuries. A very young Sam Young might even be making a start at left tackle this week. What do you think of our prospects with the offensive line this week?
Offensive line's horrible right now. Who do we have now? Wood, Piers. That's it from our originals. Oh, I'm sorry, Levitre's still there. But unless we have some good, what's the whole I'm looking for? 23 routes going on. We're not doing much on that, and that's going to hurt the line, and the front seven of Arizona is going to dominate. So, to answer your question, the line is really a huge reason for the lack of production last week on the offense. First week we didn't have the starters for the offensive line, and we only scored 3 points.
A certain inaccurate starting quarterback for the Bills lives in Arizona. Do you think he will try to play any better, or is his inability to complete a pass well?
Hometown stories always are a good thing in the NFL. Everyone likes it, like when Rob Gronkowski comes back to Buffalo. You're looking for him to do well or whatever. Even though he didn't even do that well against the Bills, except for that touchdown. But I think Fitzpatrick will show a little bit more than he did the last 2 games. I think he will have a hometown backing of some kind there, but his arm's been looking really weak. I don't know what's going on there, and I think if they don't change up the offense and just take the ball out of his hands, to be honest with you, find a way to make sure that he has the ball as little as possible, Fitzpatrick's not going to do well. They throw it all on Fitzpatrick's back. 9 times out of 10, he's not going to pull through.
Having given up 9 sacks in the last game, do you think we can expect similar numbers from the Bills hurting pass rush this season?
Well, we're hurting a lot more now because Mark Anderson's out for an indefinite amount of time, which means Chris Kelsey is going to have to step up, and Kyle Moore. I want to see what Kyle Moore's going to do. We got rid of Sean Merriman because Kyle Moore apparently is awesome backup. So I really want to see what's going to happen with that. Maybe that could generate some pass rush, getting the new guy in. I mean, if Kyle Moore, I'm going to stick on Kyle Moore for a second here. I mean, if Kyle Moore gets some good playing time and can show that he can play in this league, then that'll generate some good pass rush for us.
The wide receivers of the Arizona Cardinals, of course, Fitzgerald, probably the best athlete at the position right now in the NFL. Andre Roberts, opposite him, also doing very well this season. Do our defensive backs that have been sketchy at best stand a chance against this pair?
No. I don't. There's no. Their highlight is their receivers right now. I mean, Ryan Williams is a decent running back, but he's nowhere near superstar mentality.
They're 31st in the league in runs this season.
Yeah, and that's because their line is weak. I mean, the Jets cut a guy who they're starting. I mean, that's where Austin Howard was thrown in for, because the guy they cut is now starting for the Cardinals. Their line looks bad. Levi Brown's hurt for them. So the run game isn't where it is. I mean, Kevin Cobb, as long as someone's open, he'll get it to him. And guess what? We can't cover anyone in the backfield. And I don't see any reason why that's going to change between last week and this week. We haven't found a way to improve it. So, and they're going to know what to do. They're just going to throw it all over us. I'm sorry, I'm not being really optimistic here, but they're going to destroy us on the passing game.
How much does losing Mark Anderson affect the Bills' defense this week?
Like I said before, it does, but again, with Kyle Moore coming in, it might add a random spark to us, because he wasn't doing much before, so what? It's not like we're losing much. I hate to say that. I'd rather him be in, but maybe we can get a spark with our second string.
Well, on to a lighter topic. The discussion topic this week submitted by one of my biggest fans, Mark Vader. How you doing, Mark? We wanted to know who is it more important for the Bills to re-sign this offseason, Bird or Levitri?
Yeah, maybe they should resign. I don't know. But okay, I think that you and I are going to differ here. You can always draft another lineman, and Levitri's never really impressed me that much. I think he's a solid lineman, but he's nowhere like a Reuben Brown or even an Eric Wood. So I'd say, because plays.
Careful, Reuben's driving.
Truth, but I would have to say that I'd go with Bird. I mean, he's the Pro Bowler. He hasn't shown it recently, but I think he's earned it. And if you have to choose between those two, and it's a tough choice, I'd keep Bird.
I'm going to surprise you, Jared. I'm going to agree with you. I think Bird he's more of a household name here in Buffalo. He always finds himself near the ball, and even if he's not making the interception, it's almost got that Roscoe excitement when you see the ball in the air and Bird's there. You can feel the electricity in the stadium pick up for a second. He's always like hawking the ball, and people really enjoy him being on the team. And I think in an off season where they're going to need every political relations victory they can get, then they do not need to lose someone who is so affectionately are so fond of the fans.
Mhm.
Keys to the game this week. Is there anything that the Bills can do to win?
The only thing the Bills can do to win is generate a pass rush finally. We've done it a little bit against the Chiefs and the Browns, and we won those games, go figure. There's been no pass rush the last 2 weeks, so we have to generate a pass rush this week, get Cobb on the ground so we can throw to those receivers.
I cannot be censored in the keys to the game, so I will say, and will continue to say from here on out, that we need better quarterback play if we're going to win any of these games. Our quarterback is terrible. His arm is weak. He is inaccurate. I don't care if he's making the best decisions on earth. Go play chess where decision making is penultimate. Here we need athletes. Our quarterback is awful. We need a new quarterback. Key to the game. Who do you have to win?
Okay, so apparently putting Thigpen in the game will make us win. I'm going to go with, unfortunately, the Cardinals. I think we're going to either get the Titans game or the Cardinals game. 4-1 team. I wanted to root for the Bills, but 2002, last time we won, 4-1 team. It'll be closer, though. We're going to lose 24-17.
I also have a similar pick, 24-20 Arizona. Next game, we're going to be playing the Titans,
We have a mini bye.
who has a mini bye just like Arizona does this week. The NFL scheduling not fond of the Bills this season, at least this stretch.
Queen City
But-
Miracle.
You can tell we're awfully excited to continue doing the Buffalo Bills pregame, and maybe Bison's here soon. At least they're not losing. Cool. Welcome back to Buffalo Bills pregame week 7. Big victory overtime for the Buffalo Bills. And that's the story of the week. Was it a Bills victory or a Cardinals loss? Jared, you've had some time to think this over. What do you think? Did the Bills blow this one? Or the Cardinals blow this one?
Yeah, no. I think the Bills actually had the upper hand most of the game. That was my feeling after the second quarter. I'm like, you know what? I think we got this. But there were a lot of mistakes made at the end, or a lot of between the Jay Feely kick and Brad Smith's interception. I think they kind of cancels each other out. I think the Bills deserve the victory.
Nakia?
I was actually traveling on Sunday, so I didn't get to see the game. I was just watching the updates on Facebook, and it seems that everybody was thinking we were letting it go, that we were winning in the beginning, and then all of a sudden things started to fall apart, and they became the typical Bills, where they, as someone put it, snatched defeat from victory or something like that. But from what I saw, they didn't win the game.
It would seem that the Bills are not a team that adjusts well mid-game coaching-wise. Do you think that the coaching has improved as the season has gone along for the Buffalo Bills?
I don't think so. Unfortunately, the last 2 weeks I've been crazy busy, so I haven't really sat and watched the games. But the San Francisco game is what happens when you're losing? You got 3 points in the first half and you don't score any more points. What did you guys talk about during halftime that you don't score any points? And then this game, it seems that, okay, they had the upper hand and then they started to fall apart. So it doesn't seem like they're getting any better.
Has coaching improved in your view, Jared?
I think it improved for one game. I still think there's a lot of question marks, and I think Chan Gailey and Dave Wants have saved their job for another week. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot of questions still on coaching. I think they coached a little bit better this week in terms of the running game and trying to get the ball less to Fitzpatrick.
You think it's so bad that it's week to week for Chan Gailey that he could lose his job that quickly?
Given those 2 games, yeah, possibly.
Craig Urbick may be back, which would make the offensive line look a lot better. Is that going to have a huge impact on the offense if he returns?
Yeah, it will, but honestly, I would rather prefer Cory Glenn to come back to fill in the left tackle spot. But what do you think?
If you had the choice as to who is magically healed in order to play this game, it wouldn't be Craig Urbick. We're sorry, Craig. We don't choose to magically fix you, but
I'm just saying, yes, it'd be great. Yay!
All right, going into this game offensively, do we need to more passing game? Is keep on letting Fitzpatrick throw the ball the majority of the time, or do we need to go back to the running that we had success with earlier in the season?
I think they need to stick with the run. Fitzpatrick is not consistent, so they need to stick with what they're good at, and that's running. When he gets it together, maybe, but as far as depending on that arm, I wouldn't.
The Titans are the 29th overall ranked defense in the league. The offense should have a chance to make some plays. Do you think that both Spiller and Jackson are back to full strength, or do you think their injuries are lingering still?
No, their injuries are still lingering. Neither one of them has posted a 100-yard game in a while, and I know Spiller was when he was the only one running. I'll give you that, but I think they still have a few more weeks left to go. But I want to reiterate, I liked what they did with the running backs. It wasn't every other drive, Jackson Spiller. They mixed them up. They put them in and out. They confused the defense. If they stick to that, it'll help the healing process.
Fortunately, they have not found an old, washed-up running back to come in and fill in a spot in the running back position as they have as a linebacker. Sean Merriman, for better or worse, is back on the Bills, a team he has clearly showed he has no desire to play for. Nakia, do you think this impacts our defense whatsoever?
No, because if he was that good of a player, they wouldn't have released him in August. If they thought he could make a difference, they should have kept him. But they obviously didn't think he was good enough to make the original team, so they let him go. I'm still trying to figure out what the science is behind bringing him back. I think you need to stick with what you have because the Bills are all about short-term fixes. They're not thinking about long-term. He's not a long-term fix. He may have another year, if that, in him, and then he's done. So what do you do after that? You got to find somebody else. So you need to develop what you have and leave him alone.
I have a theory about why we brought him back.
I like the idea that science has something to do with it because your knee-jerk reaction absolutely does not tell you this is a good move. What's your theory, Jim?
My theory is Kyle Moore didn't have any plays during that game, and I stressed last week that was a step up for Kyle Moore. Yeah, he was in the backfield a few times, but they kept Kyle Moore and got rid of Merriman for that reason. So they're like, oh, hey, who was that guy before Kyle Moore?
Don't understand why we cut him, because here's the problem. What if Mark Anderson goes out week 2?
Well, thank goodness Buddy Nix watched the show, but did you have to go with picking up Merriman again? Hasselbeck is back starting for the Titans, is taking over a low-ranked offense. Is he going to make the difference against the Buffalo Bills?
He's a better quarterback than Fitzpatrick, and I have a huge amount of respect for Matt Hasselbeck, but given what the Titans have been doing this year, Chad Johnson has not been living it up to his full potential at all. You got Kenny Britt and Nate Washington are decent receivers, but just as a whole team, they're just not putting it together. Their coach is still fairly young, second-year coach. That's definitely, I think, an impact. They haven't done much since Jeff Fisher left. So.
I mean, we've talked about their offense for a little bit here, and we haven't even mentioned Chris Johnson. Is he going to be a factor in this game coming up against a Bills team that is ranked 32nd in rush defense?
Probably just because of who he's playing. He might not do it against anybody else, but because, we seem to lay down when they run the ball. I mean, he could have a 200-yard game and have not do it for the rest of the season. It's not that the Titans are garbage. It's, they've lost, some close games, so I think they're just waiting for the opportunity to win. I'm hoping it's not this week, but Chris Johnson, he could have 200 yards in a losing effort, and that's what we hope for.
The Buffalo Bills have a habit of making the Tennessee Titans look really good.
Yes.
We do not have a topic of conversation this week. The topics that were all recommended were so terrible. We don't want to give any of you the chance to win $100. So next week we'll have 2 topics of conversation. Please submit them in the comment area below, and 2 people will be entered for the big $100 giveaway. This is $100 real dollars, not a gift certificate, not a prepaid Visa. You can use it to pay for whatever you need, and you just have to comment below. So on to keys of the game. Nakia, what do the Bills have to do to win this game?
Just like I said, they need to stop the run. They haven't really done it all season. Everybody's been running all over us. Even in the games that we've won, the running backs have had good games. So they need to stop the run.
Mine's a defensive key as well. I believe that pass rush again. That's how we won last week, and we got to knock down Hasselbeck just as much as we knocked down Cobb. I mean, maybe knock him out of the game, get Rusty Smith in there, perhaps. Who knows? But pass rush won it last week. That's how we're going to stop the pass.
I have been unfairly criticizing the quarterback a little bit, perhaps. He is terrible, but the coaches have finally come to realize it, and they've been strategizing the game around the fact they can't trust him to make a 10-yard throw down the field. So as long as we can continue to game plan around our untalented quarterback, we should be able to pull out a victory against a struggling Titans team this year. I picked the Bills to win a close game 24-21.
Sorry.
Surprised you with that one.
No.
Shazam.
No surprise. I think the Titans are going to win. The Titans always have the Bills' number. I think if we beat Arizona, or we lost Arizona, we would have had a chance for desperation mode, but Titans are going to win this game 23-16.
You'd think with your respect for history, you'd be more of a baseball fan than you are.
No.
Nakia?
I'm actually going to go with the Bills on this one just because they're home and I want them to keep the streak going. So hopefully, whatever they think they did last week and it worked, that they continue to do it. So I'm actually going to pick them to win, but I don't think they're going to score a lot of points. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm going 17-10.
Well, you heard it here first. The biggest homer on the production team here, Jared, is picking the Bills to lose, and the rest of us are picking them to win.
And you guys are picking them to go 4-3 into the bye.
We have no choice now.
Winning record. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
We're off next week. We get to take time off for the Buffalo Bills pregame. Nakia, where are you going? Cancun?
Yeah.
Jared?
Home.
I'll see you in Berlin, those of you fans out there, and back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, wait for the documentary from Berlin in the bye week. Guys, stop with the cups.
Scaring the cat.
How long do you think it's going to take, ma'am?
It's just gonna take like 10 minutes.
We gotta hurry though, because this hurricane's gonna hit. I have to go buy toilet paper. Look, I still haven't decided what shirt I'm gonna wear today.
Oh my god, dude.
Come on, we just need to hurry. That's all. Oh, great! Welcome back to Buffalo Bills pregame week 9 as the Buffalo Bills prepare to take on the Houston Texans. Woo! Buffalo's really excited about this one as we batten down the hatches and prepare for the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy.
Yay, power's out.
Top story this week, Mario Williams making his return to Houston. Which team will this have more of an impact on, the Texans or the Bills, as he returns to the team that drafted him?
I like to be honest with you. I know he had that procedure done. He's supposed to be good for the game, but they're not going into what the procedure is. So I just think he's going to go in there and still not be good regardless. I mean, will he want to show his home crowd? Yeah, but I just don't think he's going to. He hasn't proved it yet.
Do you suspect this is an injury that he had coming into this season?
You know, I would love to ask him if he kept the thing quiet during his entire free agent thing. And
he's turned down every request for interviews the Buffalo Bills pregame has sent him.
That's true. We haven't got a response yet. We figured that the Williams connection would have worked, but yeah, I mean, I would love to know what's going on with that. But my guess is he probably would have covered it up, wouldn't you? I mean, seriously, if you were out there and you could have gotten $100 million and you knew it, would you tell teams, oh, by the way, I have this nagging wrist injury that might make me suck for the next 6 years?
I think the football teams overlook a lot of things in general. Like a lot of times in the area of character issues more than like physical injuries.
Right.
But I think when you have someone with the talent of Mario Williams, I don't think nagging wrist injury is going to be something that's going to stop you from signing him.
Yes. So you're saying we would have signed him regardless?
I think so. So as the Bills' offense, which hasn't performed terribly, they haven't been the worst unit on the field. Let's put it that way. As they go forward against what has proven to be a pretty good Texans defense this season, minus the Packers game, what formula for the Bills is going to work out better? Fitzpatrick throwing the ball less than 30 times, or Spiller getting his hands on the ball more than 25 times?
Well, yeah, both formulas have been thrown around, but the one consistent one, with the exception of the Cleveland game, is that if Fitzpatrick throws the ball less than 30 times, we win the game. Now, I understand, I'm not dumb, I understand that the reason for that statistic more or less is because if we're running the ball more because we're up by a lot of points, we're not throwing the ball as much. I get that. But at the same time, I think there's something also to that. I think it shows the strength of our run, the strength of the fact that we have a decent line. So, yeah, I mean, I think Fitzpatrick needs to throw the ball less. And, I mean, and truthfully, he's throwing it. A lot of the last throws he had in the last game were pointless throws, like the interception. We should have been running it at that point, not to go back to the Titans game. But
Do you think that C.J. Spiller has the physical longevity or durability to start taking over as the starting running back for the Bills against Fred Jackson, or as opposed to Fred Jackson?
I think that you start the better running back, and who's playing better right now, Fred Jackson or C.J. Spiller. And you got to go with Spiller. I mean, I like Fred Jackson. I'm not even really a huge C.J. Spiller fan, personally, but, I mean, you got to look at who's doing better. So, if C.J.'s doing better, give him the ball, let him do his work. I'm not saying don't play Fred Jackson, but I'm saying you play who's performing. Play who performs, regardless of who it is. If it's Johnny White, play Johnny White. I don't care.
The Texans do have some impact players on their defense. J.J. Watt has been performing remarkably well on their defensive line, swatting balls down out of the air, NFL record-breaking numbers, leading the league in sacks. When it comes to the passing game, there's not much that he doesn't stop right at the line. So Fitzpatrick, the less he is put at risk with J.J. Watt making a big play, the better. Brady James playing very well in as a linebacker for the Texans. And the Bills have not had defensive players that have stepped up in the same way at all. We are currently the worst defense in the league. We can't stop anyone running. Our pass defense is getting torn apart as our 4-man rush is not getting to the quarterback, and our 7-man defending isn't stopping a ball. I personally would like to see more blitzes. If we're going to get carved up in the passing game, let's at least get a chance at the quarterback. Do you think this is a week in which Wannstedt changes up his strategy?
No, I don't at all, because we should be able to get it done with the 4 guys we have. That's the problem. We have all 4 guys. I mean, granted, I'm taking the Mark Anderson thing out of the equation right now, but Mario should be good on his own. Marcel Darius, 3rd overall pick in the draft. He was supposed to be a game changer. Kyle Williams has proved it in the past. He's been in the Pro Bowl. And now you got all 3 of them on the line. We should be destroying offensive lines, so we shouldn't need to be doing blitzing in the linebacking scheme.
But we've seen 7 games. Well, I think the biggest problem we're going to have this week is Arian Foster, who has more yards than Spiller and Jackson combined. Matt Schaub is only thrown for 10 TDs. Andre Johnson only catching 2 of them.
Right.
Owen Daniels has actually been his best target, their tight end in the red zone, with 4 touchdowns himself. We can't defend the pass. We're worse against the run. Will the defense be able to come up with anything against Arian Foster-led offense?
No. No, I mean, here's the problem. That run statistic, worst running defense in the league, we're pretty good for the first 5 yards. But again, if they get back into linebacker zone, that's where we get screwed over. It's all those long runs that we've seen, that we saw from Stephen Ridley or Chris Johnson. When they get in the backfield and they run for their, nearly 200 yards to the game, that's where the run defense looks bad. Like, there's only been a few bad games with the run. The other games have been decent. It's just those really bad ones. But it's Arian Foster. He's the best running back in the league. So what do you think's going to happen? He's going to get past the line. He's going to go all over us. And you mentioned Schaub and you mentioned Andre Johnson. I mean, they know how bad the pass defense is. So They're probably gonna want to get Andrew Johnson some touchdowns while we're at it. Gets his stats up, you know.
So it's a good week in fantasy to play anyone the Bills are playing.
Play the Texans.
Yeah, to play the Texans. Yeah, and a good strategy going forward just to play whoever the Bills defense is going against.
Let's not go there.
Topic of discussion. We got 2 this week. Very excited. What players do you think, Jared, should the Bills draft first? From what position? Quarterback or wide receiver?
It really depends on where the Bills end up in the draft. You know, the late round quarterbacks just don't really impress me that much. Like your Brandon Whedons or your J.P. Losmans. I'm just naming a couple quarterbacks that were drafted, the 4th quarterback in the 1st round. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like, oh, well, there's that guy. Let's chance him in the 1st round, or your Tim Tebow's, stuff like that. I don't want to chance that. If we're gonna go for quarterback, it needs to be like top 5 in the draft. So I think based on where I think the Bills are gonna end up this season, I think it'll probably be receiver.
Anyone who knows the show and has seen my analysis knows that I think a quarterback is the most important position on the field. And what we have right now is so bad that Ryan Fitzpatrick, as a unit, is that Ryan Fitzpatrick hasn't even stirred up a quarterback controversy with his bad play because we know what's behind him is even worse. So I think anyone can improve that position at this point. And the way the rookie contracts are set up right now is it's so advantageous to try to get a quarterback as early as possible. Second topic of discussion, what team do you think is the main competition in the Bills' race for the postseason this year?
Well, I can already have an idea what your response is going to be, but even though the Jets are 3-5, I can't count them out. I think they're the Jets. They can rebound. The Bengals, I think, are still going to be up there. And, oh boy, I hate saying this, but I think the Dolphins are going to actually challenge us too.
That was going to be the team I was going to say, the Dolphins. I mean, they're dark horses coming into the season, but they just beat up on the Jets this past week. And if you're going to say the Jets are going to be competition, it looks like the Dolphins might be better than them. There's a lot of mistakes that we're making that are hurting ourselves. So I think our biggest opponent at this point for getting into the playoffs is ourselves. We need to stop hurting ourselves so we can go forward. But the keys to the game. What is your key to the Bills having success against the Texans?
There's like a whole keychain of keys, but since I'm only going to do one, I'm going to say stop the run. I mean, Arian Foster really, I know it's the Bills, but Arian Foster really is that team. I mean, you look, Schaub and Andre Johnson, they just haven't done what they normally do. It's really been the run game that's been getting them through. So I would have to say that if we stop their run, we might be able to limit their offense to a certain degree with some bird interceptions where we might actually be able to stop the Texans.
So optimistic. We all know that the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills is terrible. So the defense is going to be on the field a lot. So I think we need to pressure the quarterback Schaub one way or the other, whether it's changing up the system like I was suggesting with more blitzes, or those 4 guys finally figuring it out up front and getting some pressure on the quarterback. But I think we need a solid pass rush to win the game. And who do you pick to win then, Jeremy?
I picked the Texans to win 49-10.
49-10. I have a little bit closer competition with the Bills scoring some points in garbage time. I have it 45-31 Houston.
And before you say who's next week, I apologize to everyone. I don't mean to be so negative, but seriously, if you think we have a shot at this, tell me what it is, because I want to know. I don't know about you. But
I don't know anyone who's picking the Bills this week.
I want to, but
Western New York, be safe as we deal with the fallout of Hurricane Sandy.
yeah, I hope the power comes back on.
It'll be on soon.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Who are we playing?
Oh, Patriots. I don't know, Jared. It was a decent show this week. It ran a little long, but I didn't.
Prediction
I'm
in the
still
draft.
trying to figure out the whole Tavares Jackson thing. What was the point?
Bills pregame, Week 10. We're in the home stretch of the season. The election's over, and my condolences to all the fellow libertarian voters. We didn't win again. All right, top story this week. The Bills are not running the ball. And who is to blame? Is it on the end of the coaching that they're infatuated with the pass offense and the new look of the NFL? Or is it the inability to have a good passing game that we're falling behind in games and have to pass?
I think they're trying to play a game that they don't have the personnel to execute. We have good running backs, so we should run them. I mean, the game was, 6-9 at halftime, so it wouldn't make any sense to start throwing the ball. Keep pounding the ball. The two guys are going to score. Jackson and Spiller, they're going to score. Yes, you can throw a pass in here or there, but he gets more yardage from the run than they do the pass. I mean, he can't throw the ball more than 10 yards, so what's the point?
I mean, I really think that, like you said, they should be running the ball. That starting with 5 wide every first down was absolutely ridiculous when you have two really good running backs. However, I do believe that Chan Gilly was trying to do the Packers offense. They scored 42 points via passing. I think they were trying to copy that. Good plan, but we don't have the players to do it. We really don't. I mean, Fitzpatrick's not Aaron Rodgers, and our receivers are not, the Packers receivers. So, and Chan Gilly, as a good coach, needs to recognize that.
I think Houston's shown a formula in which to play the Bills on defense, at least. They crowded the box the whole game, and they dared the Bills to throw over their heads, which is not something the Bills have proven to do. I still think the most exciting play of the season has been the interception Brad Smith threw, because at least we watched the ball travel, a third of the field. we haven't seen that otherwise the entire season, and it just makes these games so difficult to watch. So, on to the breakdown. There were some roster moves this week. Piers on the offensive line, Terrence McGee, both put on the injured reserve. Looks like Hairston will be replacing Piers on the right tackle. Does this affect the Bills much going against New England?
Our line's 80% right now, and Hairston, I think, is pretty even with Piers, so I don't think the Piers loss is going to be that big of a deal. I'm glad we're actually getting Easley back.
Marcus Easley's back on the team, providing a long threat that we may not be able to take advantage of.
Okay, well, at least he's going to be, running around and doing stuff. I don't know.
Because T.J. Graham hasn't been running around at all up to this point.
I like Easley. I've never been a huge T.J. Graham fan. Easley, when he was playing the second receiver, and of course now he's cut for whatever reason, when he at least was in that spot, he looked decent. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, even though he's only going to be on special teams apparently. But and that's another. We can get into the personnel usage. Anyway,
Nakia, will you miss the touchbacks now that Potter's been cut off the team?
There weren't any. That's why he got cut.
Yeah, maybe we'll have some. Maybe we'll have some touchbacks or something. But
if there's a strong wind at Lindell's back.
yeah, we'll get something together. I don't know what the deal is with the special teams and the kicking game. I'm not sure. Hopefully Harrison can slide into that spot with Pierce being gone. That's probably our biggest problem. Nothing with our line is consistent. We can't keep the same players. And, for 3 games straight, can we start the same line? So,
one thing that has been a huge surprise that no one predicted going into this season was the crazy moves that would happen to the special teams. That Brian Mormon would get cut, and the whole Potter experiment would be over like silliness. But going into this game, Jared, besides running the ball, an emphasis on running the ball, what do we do to? Do we even try to throw the ball downfield? What do we do on offense?
Oh boy. I think we need to try, because the Patriots defense they just acquired Aqib Talib in the last couple weeks or so, and they put Cory at safety, so they're reorganizing things. They're not going to know their reads. I mean, there's going to be a mismatch at some point. Someone's going to do something right, and then it's just a question of whether or not Fitzpatrick can actually hit him or not. And if he does get that throw, and I mean, you're right, he does miss his players. Okay, I'm going to give you that. Some of them have been extremely painful to watch. But if there's a wide open T.J. Graham down the field, he should be able to hit them. And they should design a little bit more of that, because despite his inability to throw it down the field a lot, they're not even really giving him a chance to.
Nakia, what did the Bills have to do to stop drives against the Patriots the way they did against the Texans?
They have to be consistent. They have to continue to, if we got to play, 6-7 men in the box, and do that. You're going to have to stop the run, because we know that New England can run and throw the ball. But you got to get pressure on Brady, so he can't throw the ball down the field. We know Brady can throw the ball 30, 40 yards easily. So you have to stop him and get pressure on him so he doesn't have the opportunity to throw the ball down the field.
Jared, you're intimidated by all the weapons that they have on offense for New England. Who are you most worried about, or is there a group?
There's really not one single person, but I think we got to respect Stephen Ridley this time. I mean, we didn't at all last time. I think Gailey was quoted saying, "Oh, I didn't know they were going to run the ball." So, I mean, like, I'm not even kidding. That's not a joke. Like, that happened. And, like, we have to go in respecting all elements of that team this time around. They can run. We got to be ready to pressure that run, just like we did with Arian Foster. And as for the pass, I mean, I don't know how we're going to defend it. I hate to say it like that, but Gronk is a weapon. Welker's a weapon. There's not much we try to cover. We'll see. Maybe Leotis might actually understand how to read coverage now.
He'll learn how to play his position.
Yeah, because Aaron Williams is out.
Well, let's hope that Tom Brady stubs his toe on his way to work.
But then they got Ryan Mallett, so I don't know.
Topic of discussion this week is a good one. If Gailey were to be fired in the middle of the season, where exactly would he rank among the worst coaches of all time in Buffalo Bills history? Jared, with a historical perspective?
Well, I'm not going to list all the coaches that we've ever had, but you go back to the 60s, Harvey Johnson. Oh my God, like one win one season, then they brought another coach on, and then the coach went away, and then they brought Harvey Johnson back because he does such a brilliant job of that one win the first time that then he won another game. And they got those 2 games under his belt under all those seasons. It's like, wow. But no, I think honestly after that, I think Gailey is worse than Greg Williams, Mike Mularkey, and Dick Duran.
Interesting. And that's the real conversation we're trying to have here. In the recent history, we've experienced some awful coaches. Where do you rank Gailey amongst those 4?
I mean, if we can do the 7 and 9 like we've been doing, he'll be right in line with everybody else. We've been 7 and 9 for the last 6-7 years?
As long as
That was Duran.
7 and 9, 6 and 10. He'll be right there with everybody else. So I don't know which is worse. When we started, we start like 5 and 0 and then went 7 and 9. So I don't know what's worse: is starting 5 and 0 and then falling off, or just going up and down all season. So
sputtering.
yeah, it's all crazy. They're all bad.
In my opinion, I think Duran was the most painful, like most personally insulting to me to watch, because the games were such an insult to your intelligence as a football fan and to the city. I remember going to that Cleveland Brown games where we lost 9-6 and thinking, I was having so much fun in the parking lot. Why did I leave the fun to be bored to death at this game? Cleveland completed 2 passes and still won the game.
Well, it was 6-3.
6-3. Thank you. But it was just difficult to be a fan of the sport with Dick Duran. And as awful as Chan Gailey's been, he hasn't stooped that low, in my opinion. So it may not play out on paper because Duran got that 7 and 9 streak that left us out of drafting anyone decent. He mutilated this team inadvertently, and Gailey had to inherit that. So I'm going to go with Duran as the worst, but Gailey's probably close behind, besides Harvey Johnson. So that brings us to the keys of this week's game. Nakia, we'll start with you. What is your key to the game for the Bills to win?
I think they're gonna have to run the ball against New England. I mean, New England has a decent defense, but they have to do what they're good at. No matter who you're playing, you kind of have to stick to your game and do what you're good at. And the Bills are good at running the ball, so they need to stick with it.
Jared?
Pass rush. We gotta get Brady down. I know I say that all the time, but if we disrupt their pass game, then basically that could disrupt Brady's ability to throw the ball. I know that sounds so simple, but if we throw him off track, he's not going to be calling good. The confidence will go down to the overall team, and we might have a chance to actually score some points and get some stuff going on there.
Get a new quarterback, I guess. Ryan Fitzpatrick's terrible. Picks? Does anyone here think the Bills have a chance, Nakia?
No, Maybe because they might get snow, so it might be a little tougher game. They're getting snow in Jersey, maybe it'll move on up to Boston area. So you never know, but no.
No, what's the score?
No. If it snows,
No, you gotta do one score. You get
Right.
into a stipulation on snow.
because of the snow, they're not going to score as many points.
Okay.
So we're going to say like 27-10.
Jared?
I don't know. I got hit in the head this morning, and somehow the score of 33-23 came to mind, so I'm gonna go with that.
Oh, that's a close one. It's a nail biter. I'm gonna go with 35 to a bunch of field goals, 12. And I guess we just hope for our lives. We're gonna be playing another team that might be better than us next week in Miami, who's looking much better than they started off. So we'll see you then for a Thursday night primetime game. And as always, Buffalo Bills pregame. Good luck, Bills. Welcome to Buffalo Bills pregame week 11, the Bills' one and only primetime game this year. And top story is, of course, both teams coming in off losses. Different kind of losses for both teams. Which team do you think, the Bills or the Fish, have the momentum going into this game?
I'd say the Bills because they practically beat two teams on Sunday, whereas the Dolphins just got pounded. They absolutely got crushed on Sunday, so that I'd have to give the advantage to the Bills there. They're fighting for their coach right now, who's on the hot seat.
Well, they didn't practically beat anyone. They didn't beat anyone at all, but they were playing two groups out there, the
Yes.
refs and the Patriots. But we have a reaction video to that, and
We
we'll
do, and-
focus on going forward.
Make sure you watch that, guys.
I think the Bills also have the advantage, or the momentum. It'll be at home, and Ralph the same has been ruckus this year.
Sold out crowd.
Sold out crowd. Probably the last one this season. So if you're looking for cheap seats, there's probably some available here in Buffalo in the very near future.
Yes.
But going forward in this game, on offense, too early to tell if Fred Jackson will be playing because of the injury against the Patriots.
Feed the rock to CJ.
CJ, that's the answer?
Well, yeah, you gotta. The guy who leads the league in yards per carry, you gotta give him the ball. So there's not much to say there. Give the guy the ball. Don't put it in Fritz's hands 50 times a game.
Spiller looked very good against a well-coached, disciplined New England defense.
As did Freddie, but yes.
And those aren't attributes that run so strong in Miami. I don't think they're the best coached team right now.
Well, no, they have a rookie head coach. And quite frankly, the Bills' offensive line was looking pretty well against the Patriots, who were coming off a bye. And if you look at that as a whole, they have 5 of their top 6 linemen healthy right now. That's a good thing.
So I think CJ will be able to do well against the defense of Miami, who has given up a lot of passing yards as well. They are worse passing defense than the Bills. Oh no, they're worse running defense than the Bills, but they give up passing yards too. Fitzpatrick did have success in some mid-range passing this week. Do you think?
Maybe his mechanics are getting better, but you know what? If he's able to hit those intermediate routes, that adds a depth and dimension to the team that they haven't possessed all season. It's been too much dink and dunk, and I know they've been working on his mechanics, and the biggest problem is if you can't throw a 5-yard route, how the hell are you going to throw a 12-yard route?
We haven't seen you for much of this season. I've been harping on the lack of arm strength with Fitzpatrick. Do you think the hope of an NFL quarterback playing for the Bills completing a 25-yard pass in the air is a pipe dream?
Well, we had one of those, but he couldn't complete anything underneath, and that was J.P. Lossman.
Don't you think Lossman could do well with his offensive line, though?
Yes, because when all else fails, he'd still run like hell. And
he was running for his life when he was, before Fitzpatrick, as one of those lesser sacked quarterbacks in the league. I think with that protection, JP at least have been more fun to watch, throwing the ball 60 yards in the
He
air.
was a fun quarterback, I'll admit that in general, when he wasn't skipping the 6-yard out.
On the defensive side of the ball, Reggie Bush was benched and Miami lost. But he has always been a threat his entire career. Do you think that our defense will have trouble stopping Reggie Bush?
I believe he ran for over 200 yards the last time he faced the Bills. What it comes down to is how much faith do the coaches have in Reggie and how much motivation does Reggie have. If they're both at a high level there, as much as the Bills looked improved against the Patriots on the run, I can't see Reggie getting under 150 yards. I just can't see it because the Bills don't have the linebackers right now. They have Nick Barnett playing out of position, Kelvin Shepard who misses filling gaps, and Nigel Bradham who's been improving, but he's still a rookie.
Kyle Williams and Darius were getting some stops in the
Yes.
backfield, hits in the backfield against the Patriots. But they did give up a couple long runs, and I think
Only a couple compared to every other play it seemed early in the season.
yeah, compared to the other games, there were less of the big runs, but they still gave up a couple. And I think Reggie Bush, he's always able to break.
He has that home run ability.
Yeah.
He's C.J. Spiller a couple years earlier though, or older, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, in college especially, I'd say Reggie Bush had that kind of talent, but I haven't seen him look the way he did in college, the way CJ has looked in the pros. Like
True.
He just gets up to speed so fast on the edge. It's so interesting to watch him.
Yep, I agree with that. But moving onward.
Topic of discussion this week, discussing the improportionate runs given to Freddie and CJ, with Freddie getting more up to this point in the season when they're both healthy. It may not apply this week so much if Freddie's out, but what percentage do you feel would be best splitting the running game between Freddie and CJ?
I'd say probably 75-25 in favor of CJ at this point. He's the younger back. Freddie is starting to have the wear and tear of an older running back.
You do believe he's lost a step?
I don't believe he's lost a step, but he's injury prone. That's a big problem at this point. He's at a certain age where he should be maybe used as a third down back like Marcus Allen or LaDainian Tomlinson were at the end of their career. Whereas C.J. Spiller is a younger back, put more of a load on him. He's leading the league in yards per carry. Keep giving him the ball.
I'm not convinced that CJ isn't also injury prone. He's got a fragile body type at the very least.
Well,
getting chased by
He is tiny, but he's
350-pound
elusive
defensive
enough where he shouldn't, as long as he's not getting drilled on into his shoulder every time, he should be okay. I think.
I'd be comfortable with like a even 50-50 split on runs, but I'd like to see CJ get the ball more outside of the box where he doesn't have to worry about a 350-pound defensive lineman landing on him or his leg or his shoulder.
I actually disagree with that because up until the end of last year, that's all they really did with him, and it made it predictable. He's actually shown the ability to run up the middle and then cut it outside when he sees the opening. That's what you should have for a running back. You can't have a guy that's exclusively inside and a guy who's exclusively outside.
Well, I'd like to see him run at 50, like split the.
Oh, yeah,
right
I
now,
agree
Freddie
with
Jackson's
that
hitting
part.
more runs, so they should even that up. But I don't know if CJ is ready to take on a 75% on the running game. I'd like to see him get the ball where there's less chance of him getting hurt.
I would say probably an ideal setup would be CJ getting about 15 to 20 carries a game and Fred getting somewhere between 7 to 12. So that'd be...
It's almost reverse what they're doing right now.
Yeah, if only they actually ran that much.
Yeah.
Gailey,
on the low end of both spectrums.
yeah, I mean, Gailey needs to take the ball out of Fitz's hands a little more and rely on a great line that we have and a great run game.
The weather's not getting any better here in Buffalo.
No, and with a quarterback who's been inconsistent, to be kind, you can't just rely on him.
Keys to the game.
Keys to the game.
Keys to the game. What do the Bills have to do to beat what looks like a beatable Miami Dolphins team?
Rookie quarterback, and you have a strong running game. 8 in the box the whole game. Stack it and blitz.
Blitz. Dave Wannstedt blitz.
You know what? They were against the Pats.
I say the key to this game is don't let Fitz blow it for you. Keep it out of his hands. Keep the ball on the ground for as long as we can.
Put the ball in the safest hands possible. Yes, I agree.
And pick for the game.
Just saying with this one, it's not the easiest one because the Bills are not a predictable team by any stretch. But Thursday night at home, I got to go with the Bills, and I got to say 24-14.
I've been right every week but one, the winner at least, and I take this responsibility very seriously, but I'm going to pick the Bills as well in a closer game, 28-24.
All right.
Next week we'll be playing the Colts.
The Lucky Charms.
Another rookie quarterback we can take advantage of.
Hopefully. I don't know about that one. Luck looks too good.
Until then, it's nice having Justin here.
Yeah, good seeing you again, Randy.
Back to Buffalo Bills pregame week 12 as the Bills get to face their traditional AFC East opponent, the Indianapolis Colts. And top story of the week, the Bills lose to the Patriots by 6, the Colts lose to them by 29, the Bills win by 23 points? Game over, right?
Are you serious?
I mean, the Bills fought against the Patriots, a hard game, and Colts just got blown out. I think we don't even have to play this game.
Okay, I'll just start. You're forgetting about week 4 when we lost 52-28 there. So there's kind of two sides to every story there.
The Patriots have gotten better. We're talking about we basically played the same team in back-to-back weeks, and we lost by a significantly lesser margin. So why do we bother playing this game? Look, I'm trying to get us a win.
Good.
And I thought you of all people would be behind this.
I'm excited, but it's a big game. I think it's very evenly matched. So let's. Do you think it's evenly matched, Nakia? I'm just gonna throw it off to you.
Yeah, because Indianapolis has a good defense. Their front four is pretty good, and we haven't been great of sticking to the run. So it's definitely gonna be an interesting game.
I mean, I don't want to off the top disagree, but I mean their run defense. I don't know. Last week they didn't look like they have any defense at all with 59 points, but
Belichick and Brady will do that to a lot of people. I think they wanted to go out. I think they see that Andrew Luck's going to be a good player for a long time, and they wanted to make a statement in their first game against him and be like, just so you know, like when we were on top, we smacked you around pretty good. But this does have wild card playoff implications. If we win this game, the Bills win, we're one game behind with the chance of having the tiebreaker against the Colts going forward, which would be huge. Do you see this as a defining game for the playoff race for the Bills, Jared?
well, okay. Let's take a look at the schedule that we have coming up. Here we go. I'm not going to do this forever, but let's just take a look. We got the Jaguars coming up. We got the Rams coming up. Dolphins, if they play bad again, there you go. There's 3 wins right there. The only challenging games we have left, in my opinion, are Seattle, the Jets, and this one. So this is a huge game in comparison to those 3.
And the Jets are in such a tailspin. By
Yeah.
week 17, we might be playing, a little loop team.
I'm not going to underestimate the Jets. They've been destroyed. No, seriously.
Especially against the Bills.
Yeah, exactly. That's the Bills. They've destroyed us how many times in the past 3 years? I'm not writing that game off by any chance of the imagination. I thought the Colts game was going to be easy, but it's clearly not now. And with all the 4-6 teams, the 5-5 teams, and the fact the Indy is in the wild card, if the season ended today, this game is huge in comparison to the wild card standings. Like, we're all fighting for the wild card. We're not going to get past the Patriots. We're not going to win the division. I mean, come on.
Now, the AFC is packed full of 4 and 6 teams contending for wild card positions. It would seem that the Bills right now are fighting tooth and nail for a first round road playoff game loss. Do you see that as Is that something that you think we should be fighting for, Nakia, or do you think maybe right now would have to blow? If we're going to blow up the team, blow up the season, and try to improve going forward, hopes that maybe our children may someday see a championship in this city. Like, is now the time, or do you look forward to losing to whoever the third place champion or third place division winning team in the AFC would be?
I think they need a playoff to get in the playoffs to build. Because, I mean, we haven't been to the playoffs in, 10, 11 years? So I think they need that to say, okay, we've had some improvement. So far, we've been 7-9. There's been no improvement. We've been stagnant. Even if we're 7-9 and we get in, it's an improvement. Because we've never done that before. I don't see us being 7-9 getting in. But if it happens, I think you need to say we made the playoffs. We've broken the streak of not being in the playoffs for 11 years.
You think that monkey on our back is big enough that just getting it off in any way possible, even if it means eliminating ourselves from contention for getting a quarterback that could win for us in the future?
Yeah. I mean, because it's our team is bigger than we just need a quarterback. He's not, I mean, yes, he's the problem, but he's not our, I wouldn't say he's our biggest problem. Our biggest problem is playing with the people that we have. So I wouldn't say that it's just the quarterback. So no, I would say play to get in the playoffs.
Jared, of course, you're the homer of the group.
Make the playoffs. I mean, simply put, or destroy everything. Get rid of the coaches, draft, quarterback, whatever. Then it's time, because obviously I know they've been talking about the 3-year rotation thing. I don't like doing that. I do agree you got to build, and just rotating every 3 years isn't working. But you got to shoot for the playoffs. I mean, look, start losing the games when we're out of contention, sure. But while we're still there and we're in the hunt board, then let's keep trying for this, guys. Why not?
Well, similar to Miami, the Colts defense, their pass defense is worse than ours, but their run defense is better. What do you see as the offensive strategy for the Bills going forward this week?
Same thing as last week. Actually run CJ. Keep doing that. I think that worked the first game. There was one drive where they ran him 3 times and they punted, but one drive. You know what I mean? The rest of the time you did good. So I don't see any reason why we need to deviate from that idea. Fitzpatrick threw it less than 30 times. I don't know if either one of you guys caught that, and we won the game. I know that's not exactly the formula, because against the Browns,
The offense also scored zero touchdowns.
That was very frustrating, especially for those who were at the game, like Nakia and myself, seeing no touchdowns being scored on the board except for Leotis's. So, I mean, but I think against the Colts defense, which is significantly worse than the Dolphins, would probably do better on that end.
The Colts do have a rookie quarterback starting for them who's had moments of brilliance this season, but has also showed here and there that he can be taken advantage of. What do you think the Bills have to do, Nakia?
They have to do what they're supposed to do every week. They need to rush him. He's good, but he's a rookie, so he still gets nervous. If you put a lot of pressure on him, he's gonna make bad throws like we saw him do last week. He's gonna throw interceptions. He may not take the sack. He'll try to run, but that means somebody needs to catch him. So, I mean, he's still a rookie. He still can be rattled. So we need to rattle him. We need to keep pressure on him.
The reincarnation of Peyton Manning. Is Andrew Luck the next great Indianapolis franchise quarterback?
I think maybe one day he could be good. When I first watched the game against the Patriots, because I did some scouting of my own, I thought, this guy's not a rookie. But then when I really looked at him, he showed some classic rookie stuff. First of all, he doesn't vary the snap count. If the Bills can actually think on defense and jump that snap count every time, they're going to get over the line each time. Also, in the pocket, Luck is very, when he gets pressured, he does not like to take sacks. He's very anti-sack, so that leads to, possible interceptions, like he had 3 against the Patriots. That leads to possible, just bad throws in general. If we're actually able to execute and get the pressure on, he's going to look like any other weak rookie. I mean, can he do some good stuff? And does he know offenses? Oh, yeah, but if you get pressure on him, he's going to get knocked back a little bit.
Topic of discussion this week, talking about our defensive backs making interceptions. We want to know, why did the Bills even play Aaron Williams? Is it because they used such a high draft pick on him that they could have had a couple quarterbacks who are starting this year instead of him? Or what is the reason that Aaron Williams, not this week because he's injured, but has been seeing as much playing time as he has?
I think it's just because Leotis didn't get the job done originally, and now he's actually looking pretty good at the corner position. I just think we didn't have anybody else there to put. And I think a bad decision on the defense, to be honest. I can't really defend it that good, but just because Leota's not looking good.
Nakia, do you have any opinions on Aaron Williams and his performance this year?
Well, I'm kind of with Jared. When you have somebody who's not performing, then you got to try somebody else. And since we did, you pick him at such high, it's like you got to see if he's worth what you spent for him. But, now that he's hurt, we won't see anything. Hopefully he'll be able to come back, but he's hurt, so now we don't know anything. We don't know what's going to happen.
Keys to the game this week. Nakia, what do you think the Bills have to do? If you could narrow it down to a sentence for us, what the Bills have to do to win?
Pass rush. They gotta rattle Andrew Luck. He's a rookie. He looks good, but he's still a rookie.
Run the ball. I mean, Fred Jackson's coming back. We still got to stick to the Spiller plan. Yay, we got two good running backs back again, but run C.J. Spiller. Use him.
Fred Jackson will be back for the game, but C.J. Spiller will be starting.
Right.
So I want to see a balanced offensive attack where they keep on using C.J. as the primary option, with Jackson to spell him maybe some more, and keep the ball out of Fitzpatrick's hands. That might be the shortest one for me. Just keep it away from Fitzpatrick. Don't let him ruin a game if our defense is managing to keep us in it. Don't let Fitzpatrick be the one who ruins it for us.
All right, more Wildcat Chashard choice plays.
I'm hoping for a good game this week, a real good game against two teams that should have both strong motivation to go out and play a good game against each other.
It'll be a good game.
I'm going to say that the Colts will win a tight game, 28-24.
Mine's close to yours, except opposite. 27-24 Buffalo.
Yikes, we all have the same score. I was going to say 27-23.
You can if you want.
Well, yeah, I'm saying 27-23, but I'm actually, as much as I would love the Bills to win, I think the Colts are going to unfortunately pull this out. We don't have the weather as a factor. They're playing inside. Everything's even. So I think the Colts are comfortable and they'll pull it out.
To maintain our integrity as analysts, we have to see it as how it is. I've already been accused of being a homer this year, and I can't stand it. I lay in bed and I'm thinking about it. Thank you, YouTube. Next week, we'll be playing Mike Mularkey and his Jaguars. So it's always good to see him on the sidelines. I still can't take his name seriously.
Malarkey.
Welcome back to Buffalo Bills pregame week 13. The Bills home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Seems like these teams are both bottom feeders of their divisions, and we play each other a lot.
Yeah, every year we've played them since at least 08.
So, big story this week. Mike Mularkey comes back to town along with Paul Posluszny, both former Bills, both kind of left on their own fruition, and on their own terms. Do you think that these two players returning, or player and coach returning, has a big impact on this game?
I mean, not so much Posluszny, but, well,
I mean, we watch Posluszny play. He doesn't have a lot of impact on any game.
True, that's kind of what I'm getting at. But with Mularkey, I mean, we once they changed the regime and got Donahoe out of there, they were like, Mularkey's just like, you know what? Head coaching job for the Bills, unemployed. And he went with unemployed. So, I mean, and now granted, he did get picked up to be offensive coordinator for Atlanta and whatnot, but how horrible is that for anyone who out there in Buffalo, especially people who are struggling for work in Buffalo? I mean, I'm really thinking of the city right now, who wants jobs, and here's this guy who gave up the head coaching job of the Bills when the Bills weren't doing that bad.
Probably one of the highest salaries in town. I mean, top 1% in the city of Buffalo.
Yeah, we're not even kidding here. So, I mean, it's just it's just mind-boggling that you would give up a head coaching position where the team's not doing bad. I mean, when Bledsoe almost came that close to getting us into the playoffs in 04, That's just something to think about, you know.
He did blame the media here in Buffalo for this being like over scrutinizing him, and particular Buffalo news writer specifically, who's couldn't seem to be happy no matter what he did.
Well, I don't know. I just think it's funny that he replaces Jack Del Rio down in Jacksonville, and now has 2 wins under his belt in his first season. I mean, I think that's hilarious. It shows, and Atlanta's doing better without him as the coordinator. So
for sure.
I mean, like, Malarkey. I mean, you should have just stayed in Buffalo, man. You could still be here, man. Like,
Riding
seriously.
the gravy train.
Exactly.
We don't have high expectations for our head coaches either. Now, the Jaguars have beaten the Titans, who we lost to. They almost beat the Texans, who we did not almost beat. Do you think that Jacksonville maybe is a better team based on common opponents, or are they just playing well against their own division?
To be honest with you, I think they're just playing well against their own division. Because, I mean, Andrew Luck was still in his beginning stages when they beat him week 2 or week 3 or whatever, so that was their first win. But they recently played really good against the Texans, and then they beat the Titans. And that just seems more along line of the division, you know what I mean? Like, how many years did the Texans almost beat the Jaguars and they were good? Now it's kind of being transversed, you know. And I don't know, the Titans, they're still trying to screw around with Locker, and now the Jaguars, they actually have an established quarterback, Chad Henne. I can't believe that actually say that. But
Congratulations for Chad Henne for getting permanent work.
yeah,
Ryan Fitzpatrick looked terrible this week.
yes,
Is there anything we can do to get him off the team before Sunday?
no. Next question.
That's all I have. Offense, I don't know what else to talk about. We know that we want CJ to get the ball more, and Chan
Okay.
Gailey seems to be opposed to that. We know that Fitzpatrick is not adequate at quarterback, and he seems to be the quarterback that this administration for the Bills has tied themselves to and aren't going to back off that. So
Next administration.
I don't know what else. I don't know what to say about our offense.
Okay, with our offense, I mean, when you look at the Jacksonville defense, okay, let's get a little analytical here. Look at the Jacksonville defense; they're really, really bad. I mean, simply put, they're a horrible defense. And if we're able to actually give C.J. Spiller the ball, we might actually pull off some good offensive yards. But I got to admit, Randy, the offense has not impressed me at all the last 2 weeks. Like, it just seems like we struggled to get 1 touchdown against the Colts, and the week before we couldn't get any touchdowns. I don't know where the touchdown thing is going, but it's just we just can't punch it in there, and it bothers me because like we should be able to. We're down there. We should. How many touchdowns should we be getting and not field goals? It's ridiculous, and Chan Gailey doesn't even realize that you can kick a 50-yarder.
Ryan Lindell can't be counted on for a 52-yarder indoors. It's kind of embarrassing when the man kicks at Rolf Wilson Stadium where the winds are so erratic.
True.
You'd think that he'd be kicking 63-yarders there at an indoor stadium. Defensively, Mario Williams stepped it up this week. He made it back to the table. The secondary is clearly terrible, but they're going against a Jacksonville offense that has struggled. What do you think of the defense's chances this week?
Surprisingly, I mean, even though I think that it's a divisional reason why the Jaguars have been stepping up lately, you can't ignore that a lot of it has to do with the change at quarterback. Blaine Gabbert goes down, Chad Henne comes in, and now all of a sudden they're doing pretty well. Justin Blackman, their first-round rookie, he's starting to step it up a little bit. Cecil Shorts is starting to come into his own. They've gotten used to the fact that Maurice Jones-Drew has been hurt. Their running backs are not impressive. So they're going to stick to the passing game, and Chad Henne has a good arm, so they're going to be throwing it downfield. And unfortunately, against the Bills, whenever anyone throws it down the field,
They have success.
they have success. So I'm serious. I'm really worried about the offensive powers of Chad Henne this Sunday. It's so sad that I have to say that. Like, I think I don't know. Gilmore and McKelvin have to step it up. I mean, hopefully, maybe rookie versus rookie, and with Gilmore and Blackman, we can establish something there. But
Now, the Bills' playoff hopes are abysmal at this point, but they're not gone completely.
No.
Sitting at 12th place in the conference with
Yes.
a number of teams ahead of them. The Indianapolis Colts in the lead in the wild card, who they now do not have a tiebreaker against. And then a number of other teams. is it time to start looking at scenarios for wild card implications, or do we have to win every game from here on out?
We got to worry about winning right now. You know, I mean, we really need get the wins going and get to 7-7 at the very minimum before we can even start thinking about playoff scenarios again.
Of the 6-7 teams ahead of us, I think we've lost like half of them already this season. I don't like our chances of being in the wild card, and we'd lose to whatever division winner we'd play as the last place division wild card team, and I don't think squeaking into the playoffs to lose a road game is huge progress for us. I'd much rather see us lose these next couple games and work on improving this franchise.
And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is right now. I mean, both sound, you know, not making the Super Bowl, but not
Making the Super Bowl? You're really
Not
talking
making
about
the-
that? But I mean, like, that's even enters
If
our
you make
lexicon.
the playoffs, you have a chance to make the
No,
Super Bowl.
the Bills making the playoffs this year does not have a chance to beat the elite teams in the AFC.
Yes, it does. I mean,
Under
it's possible.
What
it's
evidence?
possible.
What evidence have they shown you
It's
that they?
possible.
What evidence have the Bills shown you that they are capable of beating a top tier team in this league?
They've almost beat the Patriots. They competed pretty well against the Texans. I mean, if those field goals were touchdowns, like I mentioned before, they might actually win that game. The only real game we lost was the San Fran game. Like, every other game, for the most part, is competitive. We were there. So, the Bills are a lot better than people think. I know I'm spinning my wheels here, but that's why playoffs, just that chance that we can make the Super Bowl, I wish we had that. I wish we could say we at least had the chance to fail at that. You know, we don't even have the chance.
I disagree that the Bills are better than people think they are, based on the fact I've watched
They
these
haven't-
games.
They haven't
I've
looked
watched
at
these
recently,
games.
no.
I've watched these last several seasons. They are a slightly below average team on their best days. Keys to the game, Jared. What do you think the Bills have to do to win this week against Jacksonville Jaguars?
I'm going to say something different than I normally say. I think we need to stop them in the secondary. The teams pass all over us, and we have a pretty decent passing attack against us this week, and we need to actually defend the pass in the backfield. I mean, that's what's going to happen. We need to actually look like we know what we're doing back there.
I haven't really taken a lot of time to talk about how I feel about Chad Henne over the years. But I think he's comparable to Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I've said a lot about Ryan Fitzpatrick. So I think with two bad quarterbacks on the field, it's important to win the turnover battle. I think if we win this turnover battle, Fitzpatrick manages not to botch things up too bad, and Henne gets some pressure in his face. Say what you will about our secondary, Jarris Bird can find interceptions when they're available, and Henne seems to be a vine that is ripe for that. So I say the Bills win the turnover battle, and I'll take them to win idiotically, and I'll be throwing my popcorn at the TV. I pick the Bills to win 32-24.
You actually have popcorn during the Bills game. It's interesting. You're never going to believe this, guys. I'm actually picking them to lose. They haven't shown me anything in the last 2 weeks that tells me that their offense is going to get it going. And the Jaguars have stepped it up there. They're riding the mass times velocity into that game. So it's going to be 24-17 Jaguars. Oh, this hurts.
I hope you're right.
I hope I'm wrong.
Well, we'll be back next week when the Bills play
The Rams.
the Rams. I
Yeah.
don't even know. That's going to be an exciting matchup. The dregs of the AFC and NFC pitted together in the toilet bowl. Oh, we're terrible.
Yeah, we are.
Yay, we just won a game.
Finally.
It's the best. That's the best I can do. Is it bad to want my team to lose? I just want them to lose. I want them to lose so bad. This march towards mediocrity is so painful to watch every season. A little bit of my soul dies every time this team continues to hurt me over and over again, and I don't know how to take it. We pulled off a victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which we were supposed to have done, and we're on to the St. Louis Rams this week, another team that hopefully we're supposed to be better than, and hopefully we lose. But we have two teams that are just on the edge of playoff contention for wild card positions, and that might turn out to be a good game. But here in Buffalo, it's blacked out, along with all of these games here down the stretch that are being played in Orchard Park. What are your feelings on the Bills, the schedule, the way it's set up, and the games that are actually going to be in good competition we're not be able to watch on TV? Is that a failure of the Bills, of the NFL scheduling, or is it just kind of coincidence?
It's a failure of the Bills because the NFL did the right thing and putting conference games at the end of the season. Because before, what was happening is the last month in December, you had everybody sitting players out. So either they would get hurt in the playoffs, or you had garbage playoff games because people were just sitting around. So they make every game count, which every game should count. This isn't basketball where you play 82 games, or hockey where you play, and baseball. It's 16 games, and every game should count. Every win should count. So they set it up the right way. The Bills just didn't take advantage of the schedule they benefited from losing.
It is so painful to know that there's good games being played and that you can't watch them anywhere in the city unless you're willing to tough, like you, some of the worst elements, just that nasty, long, soaking
driving rain.
That's as worse, as bad as weather gets here in Buffalo. You'd almost prefer snow at that point, wouldn't you?
Definitely.
But no matter which way you look at it, this week the Rams are worse than the Bills. Time for, once again, for my favorite segment ever on Buffalo Bills pregame, Worse Than the Bills. And this is where I scour all of sports, having to search very hard sometimes for a team that is in fact worse than the Bills. And this week we'll go with the one that's right in front of our noses, the St. Louis Rams. The Rams are also suffering a pretty long playoff drought. They're a team similar to the Bills that have been defined by the absence of a great quarterback after Kurt Warner left the team. They had a little success with Bulger, but nothing to match what Warner did, obviously. Steven Jackson is a fantastic player at running back, and I think he'll go down in NFL history as a poor man's Barry Sanders. Maybe not the natural gifts of Barry, but a great running back on a very bad team who put up some gaudy numbers but never had any serious victories or success as a team in the league. The Rams this season are similar to the Bills, except that their defense is kind of middle of the field and their offense is pretty poor, whereas the Bills are vice versa. I think that though the Rams have a young quarterback who has potential, I don't know if Sam Bradford is going to end up being one of the all-time greatest here in the NFL. I think he was an above-average college quarterback that's going to end up not panning out as an NFL quarterback. So, for this week at least, the Rams are in fact worse than the Bills. Man, I love that segment. From the package right on through. Worse than the Bills. You know, sometimes it's hard to find a team that's worse than the Bills.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to play one this week. But since you have a segment, I think I need to do my segment too. So
you had a segment?
Yes.
What was it called?
So we're going to do Nakia's Knockdown this week since you had one too. So this week and the 13th week of the season, we finally beat somebody who we're supposed to beat. So guess who we're going to talk about today? Chan Gailey. Yes, I could give you a hand because you beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you're supposed to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. We should at least be 7-7, 7-5 now, not 5-7. The New England game with all the passing. Last week when they should have run more than they passed. We have a good running game, but of course we'll never know because Chan Gailey will always depend on Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't know what's going on between the two of them and why he's so hung up on him and why we have to pass as much as we do. We got two great running backs. A lot of people would kill to have the 1-2 punch that we have, and we don't use it. So we stick to who? Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm glad he went to Harvard. I'm glad he's a smart guy. But for some reason those smarts aren't transferring to football, or at least not to his arm. He may know the plays, but he definitely doesn't know how to get the ball to where it's supposed to go. So this week, Chan Gailey, we're talking about you. Let's give you some coaching tips. One, yes, it was driving rain, so you actually did what you were supposed to do this week. You ran the ball. Let's see if next week, depending on how the weather works out, if you still will run the ball. Whether you're behind or whether you're ahead, if you have a good running game, then it works. Look at Ray Rice. He broke a 4-29. I think C.J. Spiller has it in him. He could do it too. So run the ball. Leave Brian Fitzpatrick. Stick to some play action. Let him throw it when he has to, but definitely not on a regular basis. So Chan Gailey, stick to the run. Let's see what happens next week against St. Louis when they run the ball. So this week, Chan Gailey, you get the knockdown.
Oh, that was good. Well, those are the two only segments we've ever had here on Buffalo Bills Pregame. I'm glad we got to finally get back to that here in our last season.
What about my session? Hey, what about my ranting session?
It's Sean. Who would have thought? Haven't seen him in a while. I guess Sean's going to take over for Sean's ranting session. Take it away, brother.
Now it's time for Sean's ranting session. Alright, so what really bothers me about the Bills right now is their two-back system. They need to keep that, and so both of them are hurt. Obviously, Fred Jackson's coming back this week, so hopefully they'll both get a lot of yards, and stop putting Shard Choice in. It's a joke. Just because he's a bigger back doesn't mean he's going to get more yards on a 1 yard, 3-and-1 or something. So that is really what makes me mad about the Bills today. There's a bunch of other things, but that's the main thing. Now back to you, Justin.
Hi, and welcome back to Justin's Trivia Corner. Long time returning here. This week's question is, what is the first Buffalo football team to finish as runners-up in the NFL? You got to give the season and the team. Reply below in the comment section to earn your prize. And this has been Justin's Trivia Corner.
And if you correctly answered Justin's question, you can get this very same box of Marios at the end of the season. Everyone involved with the show is going to sign this box, and we're going to mail it to you. So just answer the trivia question in the comments section below. Centered? So, on to the topic of discussion this week by our fellow Buffalo Bills internet pregame community member, Birch. And his question for us, Nakia, was, why does it seem that every season the Bills suffer pretty traumatic injuries? It would seem to, like, for as long as this playoff drought, this horribleness of being a Buffalo Bills fan has gone on, we've had to deal with some pretty bad injuries throughout the time.
It might be time to start looking at the conditioning. What's the off-season training program like? Are these guys really committed to being Buffalo Bills? I mean, you got to do more than just show up for training camp or every once in a blue moon if we have OTAs. I mean, the year before last, they kind of got away because of the strike, so you give them that from last year. But this year, they had no excuse. I mean, even with the strike, this is your job. You still work out. So I think one needs to look at the training staff that we have and see what are they doing to keep these players in shape, and also hold the players accountable themselves.
I am going off, in my opinion, in the matter, very little more than hearsay, and I'm willing to admit that right from the start. But I've heard that the facilities that the Bills have for the players aren't the best, that the gym equipment isn't the newest in the league, and we're not really on the cutting edge of the training, which would lead me to believe that if Ralph Wilson is cutting corners there, he's probably cutting corners in the medical staff too. I find it hard to believe that the absolute best sports medicine practitioners end up here in Buffalo. You don't hear about anyone in the area or anyone traveling to Buffalo for like sports medicine being taken care of here. I don't think this is just like a boon of the community the way it might be in bigger sports towns like New York. And keys to the game. Nakia, what do you think the Bills have to do to win this week?
They have to stop the run. They have to stop Steven Jackson. He's a good running back. He can easily run for 200 yards a game. So we just have to make sure that he doesn't decide to have a great game against us. We're known to let people run up and down the field, but hopefully this week let the defense step up and stop him.
it would be nice to watch the Bills defense stop a top-tier running back. We have problems that often. But I didn't realize until this week, and it was revealed to us, that the secret weapon to our offensive play calling just might be bad weather. That with the weather being unfavorable to passing the ball, that we very heavily depended on the running game, and it ended up with very good results for our offense. So I say if there's some bad weather, Chan Gay will have his hands tied once again, and to keep the ball out of Fitzpatrick's slippery fingers. And I have the Bills winning the game because I have absolutely no faith in them doing the right thing and blowing the game. I have the Bills winning 23-20.
I'm with you. I think they're going to win too. And since they scored so much last week in the rain, let's hope rain or snow they score again. I'm picking the Bills 30-20.
All right, we'll be back for the next week when we're playing the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes, Marshawn Lynch is coming back.
Be excited to see him.
See if he creates any earthquakes in Western New York.
See you next week. Welcome back to Buffalo Bills Pregame Week 15 as the Bills prepare to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Top story of the week, Rams fans are jerks. They butchered our show, they didn't like our in the comments, they voiced their displeasure, and I'm glad we never have to face them again. So we'll see how Seattle fans are. But the real top story, because we obviously have nothing to talk about with this game, is that Marshawn Lynch, not a popular person around the Buffalo area, is returning as the running back of the Seattle Seahawks. Jared, reaction?
Two reactions. One, my first reaction was, oh, Marshawn, he's not popular, we're totally going to get him. But then I thought, wait, he was traded, doesn't he have something to prove? Not good for the Bills.
I think anything he had to prove, he proved in that long run then the playoffs, like 65-yard run or whatever in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't think he really cares enough about the city of Buffalo to feel really strongly about coming here and showing us up when they're in playoff contention and we don't.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he was drafted, like, Spiller was drafted basically to replace Lynch. I mean, if someone was drafted to replace you at your job, wouldn't you feel kind of, I mean, I know that's not really a good
He
comparison.
also went on to a team that's playoff bound. I think he could just point to the scoreboard. Yeah, I'm with Nakia. I think he could point to the scoreboard.
Alright, fair enough.
Alright, today's top story. Marshawn Lynch traded to the Seattle Seahawks. Alright guys, what do you think about this? Do we prefer him to be traded? I mean, what's going on here?
Well, he probably had the most trade value out of him and Jackson, but frankly, Jackson I think is the better back at this point, and he'd probably be the better mentor for Spiller. But you can see that they weren't getting the carries to all three running backs, so I think Jackson and Spiller will be able to get more there.
But on the offensive side of the ball for the Bills, Fred Jackson has been placed on the injured reserve list. He's out for the season now. Nakia, does this have a big impact on the offense going forward?
I think it'll force them to use C.J. Spiller and use the good back that they have. Not that Fred Jackson isn't a good back. He is a good back. But see, you need to either decide, am I going to run C.J. or am I not going to run him? And now that they don't have a choice, hopefully they'll run him and the good things will happen.
Actually, they do have a choice. His name's Tashard Choice. And they could start throwing him into the mix and seeing what happens there. You never know, maybe he'll start.
And they did sign a new running back to the practice team this week too.
God.
So, I mean, there's plenty of hands to spread those touches
Maybe
around.
that practice squad guy wants should get the
I mean,
front
C.J.
row
Spiller has been much talked about around the city this week, but C.J. Spiller leads the league in yards per carry as a running back.
Yeah.
He's on par to finish second all time in yards per carry over the course of a single season. I mean, we're talking about one of the most effective runners that the NFL has ever seen over the course of a season, which is a pretty large sample.
That's because he doesn't touch the ball. If you
Is it-
only touch the ball 8 times and you get 150 yards, of course your average is huge.
But why isn't the coach notice that and hand him the ball more? Is the point?
Well,
Because
because
that
he
just
said.
makes sense.
Well, he at one point, Chan Gailey in his post-game press conference was like, "Well, it was Fred's turn, so." And I'm
And
just
then
like,
he
"What?"
said, well, CJ had 2 big runs and he was tired. Well, he's a starting running back. If he's getting tired, then we have a problem. He shouldn't. I mean, yes, you might get, but his thing is, CJ isn't an every down back. Well, then why'd you draft him?
I'm concerned about Seattle having a stout rushing defense, only ranked 4th this year in the NFL, stopping the run. If we don't have success early on running the ball, if Chan's going to give it up right away and try to take advantage of a pass defense that hasn't done as well, with Fitzpatrick, who is flawed.
Even when we have success, he doesn't stick to the run, so.
Um,
It'll just make sense that maybe.
Well, that's one of the reasons he said he didn't run CJ. CJ got 7 touches this week, or 8 touches on 7
8.
rushes. He said they got behind and down in distance early on in a couple runs and just didn't go back to it. So I hope Chan doesn't fall in the same trap. But on the other side of the ball, the pass rush did have a fair showing against the Rams. Do you think that success will continue, Jared?
I really do think in this case, I think it will continue, and it should. I mean, I think their line's a little bit better. I mean, Marshawn has run over 1,200 yards this year, so obviously the line's doing something right. But I mean, I think the Bills' pass rushers finally figured it out, and they're going to stick with it. Honestly, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. So and Russell Wilson, they got to pressure him because he's still a rookie. I don't care if he's starting. Like, he's still a rookie, and he's going to make rookie mistakes. And if they actually get that pressure, which I haven't seen a lot of other teams do, we might actually have a shot at that too.
Wilson is quite athletic in the backfield. Is that something that'll be a problem for the Bills, or will our front 4 be able to cover up for his athleticism, do you think?
I'm not exactly sure. They're just starting to get it together, and I don't think they faced anybody who's really gonna give them that challenge. So it'll be interesting to see how they stand up to somebody who's just not gonna sit there and take the set.
I think Sidney Rice and Golden Tate are going to have a huge impact in this game. Again, still trying to stop this in the secondary hasn't happened, so
Oh yeah.
I think those two will have a good week this week.
Topic of discussion this week, and it's about facing the quarterback problem going forward into the off season. Jared, we'll start off with you since you are the Fitzpatrick honk around here. Do you think that going into the off season we should be looking towards free agency with Mike Vick possibly being available, Alex Smith likely being available on the free agents market, or is there a draft pick that you think the Bills like to be made? And do you think it's worth tanking games to get that draft pick?
I think you already know what my answer is going to be, but I think I'm going to somewhat give you my
Stick with
theory.
Fitzpatrick.
Actually, what I think's going to happen is I think because of Gailey's contract situation and Fitzpatrick's contract situation, I think they're going to give it a go another year. Realistically, I see that happening, guys. Despite what you both think, what they should do is they should go back to what we did back in good old 1997 when they tried doing the Todd Collins out the Bell experiment, which clearly didn't work. That was 1 year without Jim Kelly, and they're like, no. So what do? They bring in a veteran quarterback in Doug Flutie and someone they thought was going to be good in Rob Johnson. They're like, okay, well, let's see what happens.
He had one good playoff game.
He had the playoff game, but they were referring to the Jaguars game where he did really well.
Yeah.
That's why they brought him in, because of that one game. And go figure, one of them actually turned out to be good. So you would think, okay, let's do the same thing. Let's bring in a veteran that's proved it. I'd rather have Alex Smith over a Vic because Vic just looks like he's tanking lately. And then someone who looks, okay, so that's your veteran, and then you think, okay, then someone who looks like he's proved it. I'm not sure who that would be. Rookies, I don't like the rookies right now, so maybe some hot hand I'm not sure of. Like Kirk Cousins or something. I know we're not going to get him, but that's really what we should do. But it's not going to
Worth
happen.
tanking games over?
No,
No.
you don't take games. I mean that. I'm
Okay.
not.
That's never happened in the history of sports.
Of course, it's happened in the history
Okay.
of sports, but I just don't like doing that.
The Bills can't tank games because even if they get a high pick, they're not going to pay them. So it's going to be an ugly situation. So trying to get a high draft pick for the Bills is just useless because they don't know what to do with them anyway. But
Right. That's not.
yeah. Michael Vick or Alex Smith. I mean, I think they both are on. They're both not starting because they got hurt, and their backups happen to play well enough that they figure we're just gonna ride this out and see what happens. Philly's not going to the playoffs, so you might as well see what you got in your backup. San Francisco, what are they on the edge? I think they're.
They'll make it.
They're leading.
I think-
they're leading their division, aren't they?
Yeah, they'll make the playoffs.
So it'll be.
Seattle's chasing them for the lead.
Okay, that's what it was. Seattle, the other ass. But so it's just kind of weird that you would not let the guy come back if he's got you this far. Yes, he got hurt, but usually injury doesn't allow you to lose a job. But I guess in San Francisco it does. So I mean, it might be worth seeing what he still has left after that injury. I mean, we can't get any worse.
All I know is that they don't make any changes. It's just a big middle finger to the Bills
Yes.
fans. So keys and picks of the game. Jared, who do you have winning or what's your keys of the game? What do the Bills have to do to win this match?
They you're gonna want to hit me. They need to have a good passing game. I mean, seriously. I mean, that's what Changeli's defense is gonna be. That they're 4th against the run, 29th against the pass. So they're gonna try to air it out.
Run is working, stick with the run. It really doesn't matter. If the run is working, you'll get a pass here or there. It's not like Fitzpatrick has an arm and he's throwing 60-yard touchdowns. It's not happening. So they need to stick to what works. If the run is working, stick to the run.
We don't seem like we adjust well at halftime. We don't seem like as the game goes on that we're trying to like massage the game plan for what's working right now. So
It's very one-dimensional.
yeah, he comes out with a game plan and he will stick to it thick or thin. And I have the Bills losing the game 24-17. Fingers crossed. Nakia?
I have them losing also. I think Marshawn is going to come in and have a big game. Not that he cares, but that's just how he plays. So I'm actually going 27-13.
Are they losing on purpose in your scenario?
No,
They're still
just
trying.
they're just gonna get they're gonna
Just
get
gonna
beat.
lose. Oh, okay.
Jared?
For some strange reason, my mental picture in my head told me that it was going to be Bills 27-14. So we'll just see what happens there. I mean, after all, they still have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yes,
God.
there is an impossible scenario in which the Bills could make the playoffs. And for those of you interested, well, that wraps up the game. We'll be back next week as the Bills prepare to take on.
Miami.
I don't even care anymore.
They're going to squish the fish in Miami.
All right. Good luck, Bills. And just a reminder, you have until Christmas Day to submit your topics of discussion for the Bills pregame show in the comment section below to be eligible for our cash prize. It's cash, people. Do it. And welcome back to Buffalo's Bills pregame week 16 as the Bills get to face off against the Fish for the second time this season. And top story of the week, Miami, though it wouldn't seem so, is still in the hunt. And there's not an outside chance of them winning. They have to win out, which means they have to beat the Bills and the New England Patriots, which might be the toughest obstacle for them to overcome. But do you think the Bills have what it takes to play spoiler against the Miami Dolphins this year?
I'm not too sure. We still during the end of the year, let's put everybody on injured reserve shuffle. So I pretty much think the Bills are done for the season. We can't play for a draft pick because we don't know what to do with them. So I don't think they're gonna go down there and win. They should, but I don't think they're gonna do it.
You think that Buffalo's a better team? You say they should win?
if they actually played with the players that they have and used them the way they should be used the right way, then yeah, we could probably win a game if they ran the ball and let Fitzpatrick stick to the dumps, because that's what he's good at. He's not a good long passer. If he sticks to what he's good at, then we could win the game. But they don't know how to play with what they have.
So you think Miami has that much better coaching that they're able to overcome a less talented squad and beat us?
I don't know about that, but I think the Bills have a way of losing games.
They do.
Yeah, they don't win games. They lose. They lose games. So I think they have a way of doing that.
One thing analyzing every game here at the Buffalo's pregame teaches you that the Bills will find a way to lose.
Yeah.
For certain, as they got crushed terribly this week against the Seahawks. I want to talk about everything they did wrong, but I feel like that would take way more than a lot of time. Was there anything that you saw good about the Seahawks game?
No. I can't think of. I mean, I didn't expect it to go that bad. I mean, yeah, we didn't get shut out like Arizona did the week before, so that is a plus.
There we go.
I didn't expect it to go that bad, but I did expect Marshawn Lynch to come in and do what he did, and that was run all over us.
Absolutely, and our defense does not seem even willing to stop him. They look like a defense that had just resigned themselves to being put up an embarrassing number on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just hard to watch the offense too. The line has been playing well, especially down the stretch this season. I mean, our running backs are a solid core, and there are some decent weapons. Chandler, though injured now, has been a weapon.
Yeah.
He's got some weapons to throw to, but the thing that just doesn't come together is the fact that the quarterback, even though having a line that'll block for him, running backs will take the pressure off him, and receivers, Stevie Johnson would love to have more catches.
Mm-hmm.
Out there trying their best. The quarterback just can't get them the ball whatsoever. And watching T.J. Graham, who we traded up to get when we could have gotten Russell Wilson with the pick that we didn't have to trade for, in the game when Russell Wilson is embarrassing our entire team while the player that we traded up for in that same draft is dropped 4 passes. It was a hard game to watch.
But we always seem to do that. The players we skip on that we should pick, when we play them, they always have a great game, and it's crazy.
Well, enough looking back. We'll continue looking forward to the Dolphins game, and we have a segment this week, Debate with a Dolphins Fan.
Thanks, Randy. And now it's time for a debate with a Dolphins fan. All right, this is your buddy from college, Jared.
Yeah, my college roommate who is a Dolphins fan who joined us on the first episode of first Dolphins episode of Bills Pregame.
And what's his name again?
Andrew.
Say hi to the camera, Andrew.
Alright, this is Andrew Marks, #1 Dolphins fan, the whole row.
Well, what do we got here, Andrew? I mean, this will be the 8th game we've done. I don't have the record in front of me. There's the record. So obviously you guys have had the upper hand. So what would you have to say about the last 3 years of Bills Dolphins football?
Well, I mean, yes, obviously the record speaks for itself, but also taking a look at a few trends this past season within the Bills season. First game was a blowout, and then a few weeks later we had an NFC East team blow out the Bills, and then an NFC West team blow out the Bills. So last week we had an NFC West team, and I don't know, just by looking at trends, could be victory for the Dolphins. That's what I'm seeing here.
Well, the only thing I can say against that is we beat you the first game.
That was
That
at
is
home.
true. That is true. Trying to dissect that, and honestly, as long as we stop C.J. Spiller, then we should be in good shape. I know a lot of the Dolphins players, they felt bad about the Bills game, and they've let you slide for a few plays here and there, but I definitely foresee a big blowout.
So you think the Bills are going to get blown out by the Dolphins on Sunday?
Just by looking at past few weeks, could be a possibility. As long as we stop C.J. Spiller, your main threat, then we'll just let Ryan throw as much as he can, and we'll let that speak for itself.
I'll just chime in here. I think that's going to be a really close game. I think Spiller is going to run for his life, run all over the Dolphins like he did the first time. But in a loss for the Bills, just because I like watching the Bills, because Spiller is pretty good. And that's about it. I mean, I'm hoping for a Bills loss, just for a better draft pick, just so they don't have to trade up. So, I mean, that's all I have to say, really.
Well, I mean, okay, you were talking about the blowout. Do you think that the Dolphins actually have a shot for the playoffs here? Because, you know, if you beat us and then the Patriots magically, then you have a shot.
You know what? We're just not at it right now. I think we should be playing for the future, and you have to stay with your team to the end. But I think for the best interest of the Dolphins to look at getting the best draft pick possible. And there's that linebacker at Notre Dame who would look great in a Finns jersey. So
You want to lose out? You don't want to win the game?
it's not that I want to lose out, but you know we do have to play the Patriots, and they did lose this past week, and I'm not sure specifically where they're trying to finish, but if they are still trying to get that wild card spot, then they'll definitely be looking to play the last week of the season. So it could be an ugly game, and we also need a lot of help from the Bengals and Tennessee. So I think we should just definitely be playing for the future at this point.
Randy, back to you.
And the makeup girl was late again today. Oh, Sean. Thanks. You always were professional with those outros. So, on to the topic of discussion this week. From Rams Rockstar fan, a Rams fan wanted to know what our feelings were on the Toronto series with the Buffalo Bills, and if we think this is a first step towards the Bills relocating to Toronto.
I don't think they'll ever go up there. I don't like it. I've never been to a game up there. I know a few people who have gone, and it's not the same atmosphere because you can't tailgate. So, I mean, Bills fans, yes, we enjoy the game, but we go to tailgate and hang out and do all the stuff you do at a tailgate, and in Canada, you can't do that. So, I don't think they'll move up there permanently because it's not the same atmosphere as it is down here in Buffalo. So, I don't think they'll go up there permanently. So I'm glad. What is this? Almost over now. I think that was the last one. It's been 5 years.
They're anticipating that the contract is renewed though.
Oh.
For significantly less money this time. Like Ralph Wilson took them to town on that $78 million agreement last time.
The only good thing about it is when I buy my season tickets, that's 2 less games, so it saves me money.
I've been to college bowl games up at the stadium, and it's just a terrible venue to see a football game. The crowd is so far above the field. You can see it in the television. It even looks a little odd. The field's a weird color. The indoor lighting is off.
I thought it was my TV.
Yeah, it's just I don't care for it as a stadium that's for football purposes. I've enjoyed some baseball games there. I can't deny it, but as a football stadium, I don't think Rogers Center is what it has. Security's tough and not so much fun. And I don't know if Toronto would even want the Bills franchise.
No.
I'm not saying that no team's going to go there, but they've just...
Yeah, I think they enjoy the CFL better.
They've had such a first-hand look at how terribly run the Bills are. I think they'd be hesitant to take that particular franchise. They'd rather see us go to LA, and they'll try to wait for a better team to come around. But as for Miami's concerned this week, keys to the game, what do you think the Bills have to do to pull off a victory?
I think I sound like a broken record, but they need to stop the run. We got Reggie Bush, who started out well. Hopefully he doesn't end the season well, running all over us, but for some strange reason, even if we win games, the running back always seems to run all over us. So I think maybe we can find a way not to lose and stop Reggie Bush.
I think that it's funny that Dolphins fans are hoping to lose games too in order to get a better draft pick, because I thought that was like what our role is right now. Like, back off. Don't take... Miami fans want to take everything that's holy from us. But hoping to lose, I'll ask for one thing I know we won't get, and that's good quarterback play. And I think that Miami, with a reason to play this week, will beat the Bills 28-17.
I don't think they'll score that much, so I'm going 23-13, Miami.
Very good. Well, we'll be back for the series finale of Buffalo Bills Pregame, the last show ever, next week as we face off against the Jets. And we'll be sure to see all 27 of you there soon. Welcome to Buffalo Bills Pregame Series Finale, Week 17 against the Jets. The Bills, disappointing loss to Miami for some, exciting loss for others, moving up in the draft class. Personally, I'm changing allegiances and moving to Dallas. Top story this week. Let's skip all that. Let's get to the money. That's what people are really filming in for, so the rest of you don't have to tune in for the rest of this. So, Nakia, as the prettiest member of Buffalo Bills Pregame, you will choose randomly the winner, which is Buffalo Bills fan 97. Congratulations, you win the cash prize, and thank you all for your participation.
You won something.
So, top story of this week, as irrelevant as it may seem, there is a game, and they are going to play it here in Buffalo against the Jets. Sean, we haven't heard from you in a long time. Who is worse, the Bills or the Jets?
The Bills by far.
By far.
Yeah. 'Cause the Jets are in a city that's, you know,
Wait,
a good city.
so you're saying the team is worse because the city is
Correct.
the city is worse?
Yeah, look at every NFL team. That's the way it goes.
So then the Jets and the Giants are the best teams in the league.
No.
Are you giving our Super
I'm saying they're better than the Bills because of that.
Okay.
Okay, so that's like saying that the
But
Atlanta
you look at
Braves
you
are
look at the league. The last
a
couple
crappy
of
team because Atlanta's not a baseball town, or it wasn't for the longest time.
But if you look at the teams in the league that are really good, they are like the players of
Wait,
economic.
you're saying like small
Green
market
Bay-
teams?
Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis. These are all small markets.
Yeah. Even Houston, which didn't have a team for a long time.
All right, Justin, maybe you can give a more reasoned exposure. Who do you think is worse?
Right now, I hate to say it is going to be the Jets. As much as we've all trashed the Bills in private, the Jets don't know who their quarterback is. They have
Bills haven't been in the playoffs in 12 years, but okay.
13, but that all said, we're talking about right now, not a overall history view of the teams.
Okay.
The Jets right now have no clue who their quarterback is. They're using Greg McElroy. I believe that's the guy from Blades of Glory.
Fitzpatrick.
But you know what? Fitzpatrick, you know what you have with him. He's going to throw a lot of touchdowns and a lot of
He has
picks.
5 wins.
All right, but you don't blame that all on the quarterback. You have to blame it on the coach. And I think the Bills are going to get rid of Chan and move forward.
I'd rather be in the Jets' position where they have a quarterback that's taken them to a conference championship. You know what
But I think they're going to get rid of him.
I don't disagree with you, but given the choice out of the two, I'd rather be in that spot. Nakia, do you feel strongly one way or the other? Or these two, is it a toilet bowl ultimately?
Yeah, it's terrible. The Jets are bad because you bring in Tebow, which messes with Sanchez's head,
Yep.
and then you don't even use them. And then when
You also have an idiot
Sanchez
as a
is
coach.
out, yeah, when Sanchez is out, you don't even play Tebow. You bring in somebody else. I'm like, what was? It was another whole Bills through the whole Travaris Jackson thing. So I pretty much, they both suck. They're on the same level.
They really are.
If you have time for a foot fetish, you probably shouldn't be coaching an NFL team.
True.
So, topic of discussion this week, Keeney asks, should we continue rooting for the Bills, or specifically, should we start rooting for the 49ers? Justin, you want to start off?
I like rooting for teams that are closer. Well, the closest good team to us right now is actually Pittsburgh, and well,
They just got knocked out.
they just got knocked out of the playoffs. So really, there is no winner for us in the Northeast. Rooting for the Patriots is not an option.
Not an option.
Rooting for the Jets and Giants, I can't do that either. Can't bring myself. Eagles suck. Browns suck. Steelers suck. Whole Northeast, not a good team. I can't root for anyone across the country though.
Not San Francisco, then.
Not San Fran. Not San Diego. Not Seattle.
You're willing to court other teams besides the Bills.
Only for the playoffs. Come next year, I'll be back in the red, white, and blue. Unlike you,
I'll root for
bandwagon jumper.
I would root for the 49ers for sure.
That implies that there's been a Bills bandwagon. I think everyone's been diving off for a while.
I'm still
Yeah.
rooting for the Bills. I'm still a Bills fan. I love Buffalo, but I like to root for a winning team, and as most people do. So, if you're gonna say that's a bandwagon fan, go ahead. But I really, frankly, don't care. If I'm gonna root for a winning team and not be a depressed Bills fan all the time, that's what I'm gonna do.
Nakia?
Well, everybody knows I'm a Broncos fan. I like the Bills because they are my home team. So, of course, I'm still going to go because I like football and it's here. So, for me, it's just football. But first and foremost, it's the Broncos. And the Bills, since they're here, I go see them.
She's rooting for them because Forrest Gump is the quarterback.
I root for the Broncos too, only because my dad's a big Peyton Manning fan.
I've already declared my new allegiances, so I think I'll leave
I
myself
just
out of
want
the
to go to
question.
the Victoria's Secrets at the stadium. I figured it out.
My true motivation. Well, Nakia, what do you think the keys of the game if the Bills are going to beat the Jets this week?
Usually I go with defense, but since we're playing the Jets, I think I'm gonna go with them actually running the ball with what's his name?
CJ?
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to stick to it. Because the Jets really don't have I don't know what the Jets have. So I think if the Bills play with who they have, they can win this game. So I'm just gonna say they're gonna have to run the ball with CJ.
Sean, keys of the game?
I don't know. Just not have our coach mess it up again like he's done the last,
Month.
10 games. Yeah, I don't know. Basically, it's coaching. I hope it's a good turnout. It probably won't be. But I go to the games anyway. So, the crowd.
The crowd.
The
There you
crowd.
go. Justin, key to the game?
When you have two teams that are out of the playoff contention, regardless of sport, it really comes down to who's going to play for their coach at this point, who's going to play for their jobs. And unfortunately, I don't think that Chan Gailey is going to be inspire the Bills this week. And
Like he's been holding back on a Dewey of a speech.
yes, one of those speeches from Rudy or from Newt Rockney or something like that. I don't see that happen. What I do see happening is whichever team is going to fight for their coach. Rex is charismatic enough where he might be able to muster out a win before he gets the axe himself.
So you picking the Jets?
I will be, yes.
What's the score?
13-10.
Sean, pick?
I want a little better game than that if I'm going to go out. It's cold. I don't know. Honestly, I think the Bills will win just because of how devastating Jets have been with their quarterback situation and everything. So I'm going to say Bills win in a landslide 27-10 or something.
27-10.
Wow.
Wow. Fun game to hope. What to hope for. Nakia, do you have a pick?
I'm actually gonna pick the Bills to win too. I'm hoping that we get some weather and they, have to play within themselves like they do when the weather's bad. So I'm actually gonna pick the Bills, but I'm going 20-10.
I'm going to pick the Bills in a baseball game, 9-7.
Steal it from me then.
I still want them to lose, though. And while we're on the subject of predicting the future, we always make Super Bowl predictions, as we know the Bills won't be in it here week 17.
Do we do scores? Because I don't think I'm ready for scores.
No.
Like, I can pick a team.
Yeah, we're just
Yeah.
picking teams.
All right.
I'm going to go first and
No
say
chivalry.
no chivalry once. It's dead. Altruism's dead. It's the last show. I'm going to get in there with my prediction. I think I like Houston out of the AFC. Their style game is fun to watch. They're fundamentally sound. And I would like to see a new matchup in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to pick Atlanta out of the NFC. Maybe, just a new matchup and not like atypical teams competing for the top. And that's nice. And Nakia?
I'm actually going with Atlanta too with the NFC, and of course the Broncos. I think they've won about 8 or 9 straight, and so if they win today, they probably clinch the bye in home field. So I think I'm going with the Broncos in Atlanta.
Agreeing with Nakia, sticking with the hot team. Every single time a team gets hot, going to the playoffs, they end up going very far. So Atlanta, they proved that they could win a big game. I think it was last week. I forget who they played, but sure they proved a lot. And the Broncos. Peyton Manning is due for another Super Bowl. He got an injury. He, where's that, like 3 or 4 years ago now? He went to the Super Bowl, had his injury, and then that's why the Colts are bad. So I still think Peyton Manning's got it. And he's one of my favorite players, quarterbacks.
I'm all about the Colts being bad that are about to clinch a wild card.
Or Broncos.
Yeah, I'll be that as my. I'd actually have to go. I have this sinking pit in my stomach. I have a feeling that Belichick and Brady are going to be back in again. It hurts me to say it, but I also have to say a small town team that is doing well, the Packers. I think that they can actually be back as well. Yeah.
Well, that wraps up our Super Bowl predictions and just leaves us time to reflect about Buffalo Bills pregame itself, as this is our last show. We've all spent time on the show over the past 4 seasons and all had time for some good memories. As the newest one, I'll start off. I enjoyed a lot the first time that the only time we faced the Eagles, and I was able to. Mike Vick was fresh off his conviction for being for killing dogs, and I was able to bring my dog to the show, and just little gimmicks like that, where we get to tie in jokes and just things that we laugh about off scenes. Do you have any fond memories of Buffalo Bills pregame, Nakia?
It's always been fun. I mean, I've always watched football, so it's always been good just to, sit around and talk to other people about it. But it's been fun.
Sean?
I missed this last year because of college. College is getting harder. So
As it will.
yeah. I did enjoy, I guess. Seasons before that. I was probably a really big Bills fan going when we started the show. I've declined since because of not being, having to want to watch it as much, with being busy. So I did enjoy those last 3 years, or those 3 years, and I guess I haven't been around, but I did enjoy it.
Well, I guess I get the final say on this one. From the first episode, which is actually in my living room, and I think it was a good time. I've gotten to harass my best friend, who's the producer. Gotten to really get to know each of you guys a lot. But I'll take this in a different direction. We as Bills fans have suffered for 13 years. The city of Buffalo deserves a lot better. If anyone from Bills management ever gets to watch this, please give us something to cheer about. 13 years where the Bills have been in the bottom half of the conference. Even if the playoffs were 8 spots instead of 6, they wouldn't have made it once in that 13 years. That's inexcusable. In a 16-year span, you should expect your team to make the playoffs 6 times on average. We haven't made it in 13. They're below average. We want something. Give us something to be proud of.
Well, we've really enjoyed our time with Buffalo Bills pregame. We really enjoy the time that you spent watching it. Thank you so much for everything. We do reserve the right to come back if the Bills do ever get good. So don't think you're rid of us that easy. We'll be back soon. Thank you very much.
I think it was probably